let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought about after Monday when we talked. It's like, man, I should make some notes. I'm like, you know what? I've flown by the seat of my pants my whole life. Like I've never had a budget. You know, Anton's like, man, we need to have a budget. I was like, if we need it, we buy it.
Yeah.
If we don't, we don't. Right?
Makes it easy enough.
I mean, that's just the way it is, you know? And, you know, I've always invested in the company and, you know, if we need something, you know, we just had a meeting today. I'm going to spend $50,000 on damn software.
Software.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, with the subscriptions, you know, annual fees and all that. But, you know, it's like, I'm not scared to spend money to be efficient, you know?
Well, like I said, this is a little different because normally if somebody comes in, there's a topic. You know what I mean? I can run straight to something and say, and obviously TDS can be a topic.
Right.
You like you said, 27 years. It's like for me, I want to just there's a lot of questions because see, I worked at Motorsports and so when did you?
I left in.
We'll just start right in the middle, and then we'll just run.
Yeah, I actually left. Well, I started the company in '98, so '98 is when I left. Yeah,
okay,
February of '98.
So I was there I started in 2006.
Okay.
So
Was John still there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just before he sold out.
Got you.
Yep. And so when I got there, you were the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Still am.
No, I don't think so. Well, I don't know.
I'm not.
No.
John walked up to me at Charlotte just a couple weeks ago. He's like, Tony. I looked at him and said, hey, man. He's like, how you doing? I said, good. And I just kind of looked at him like, you fucker. Seriously, I didn't say anything. He had all these people.
Yeah.
And he just kind of went. I mean, he could tell by my face, you know, because last time I talked to him, I cussed him out like a redheaded chip. I called him and then just cussed his ass out. Simply Ty and Elon standing on the patio. I gave him. It took me like 15 years to tell him how I felt about him, but I told him.
15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. So then we'll circle back.
Yeah, that can be a.
Yeah. But I'll
have to try not to get too emotional on that one.
Well, because, you know, so back then when I got there, Motorsports was the Mecca.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they did, you know, I can remember pulling in and seeing all the haulers.
Well, by the time you got there, they were beginning not to be the Mecca.
100%.
I mean, because we were taking their business.
Well, not just y'all, right? There were other ones kind of popping up, trying to.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I've seen a bunch throughout the years that tried, but racing's competitive. You know, it's competitive. Obviously, like the sport's competitive, but like the business.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. And so to stay alive in this industry, you don't see a lot of. I mean, there's a few. You know, like you think about who are the people that do the like the car covers and stuff. They've been at it a long time. Yeah.
Alpha Kansas.
Yep. And then what's the other one? Thermal Control. They've been around for a long time. Yep.
Well, yeah, Thermal came after Alpha.
Yeah.
Alpha's been there a long time.
Have they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But either way, like I said, it's competitive space, you know? And so how did you start? So earlier we were talking about it a little bit. You had mentioned PIP.
Yeah.
So is that, I mean, hell, you said 19. That had to be close to the beginning, right?
Yeah. So I actually, Josh, we going? Yeah. So I actually started in high school in printing. Went to school in Burlington, North Carolina, Cummins High School, and took graphics just as an elective. And it was offset printing. You'd go in the dark room and make your film, and I was good. And we went to state competition and competed against all the high schools. It was called, I think it was Decal. And then I went to work for a school, a pip printing franchise open in Burlington, and asked my teacher, like, hey, do you have anybody? We want to hire somebody part-time to help.
So was the class, was it, you say it was offset printing, like you're talking screen printing?
No, it was printing paper envelopes. We actually printed our class, our school printed everything for the school administration.
Really?
Yeah.
So they had the equipment?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we printed letterhead, newsletters.
Very cool.
You know, all that stuff.
Was it, so I think you might have just said this, but with like paper press style?
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah, it's a machine.
Yeah.
It's AB Dick Press. that was the name of it, 360 AB Dick. So,
That's
funny. My teacher's like, I got a great guy. So he sent me over there and I worked for him.
I only laugh because it's like a typewriter now. You know what I mean? Like when you said that in my head, I just imagine like, man, people don't have a clue what that is. Like, a lot of people that are watching this, like they're obviously in the digital printing space,
sure.
right? So, they're thinking about, digital printers, wraps, all that sort of stuff. Thinking about you starting your career on a paper printer in high school is a wild thing to think about.
So I worked for him, and then I went to college at a small college called Chowan College, and I hated school to begin with. My ex-wife, she really encouraged me to go. It's like, God, I don't want to go to college. So I went, I partied. It's like, I was in high school, and there was only 1,200 kids in the school, and 11 of us was from my high school. We all left graphics program and went to Chowan. So, I mean, we're just like in high school.
Did they have a graphics program at Chowan?
Yeah. Okay, I was going for I think it was print and production management. Okay. And boy, you talking about a typewriter. They had I can't even remember the machine, but it was stupid. It was before the typewriter, whatever that was.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like the only thing that I know of like early days printing is from a show called Outlander.
Okay.
Where the main character ends up like owning a printing press, but he's like, making all of the dies or whatever, and then like running the thing,
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the big machine just presses.
And that's essentially the same thing, right? I mean, you guys had to have dies. You had to have, I guess.
No.
Mm-mm.
It was a printer. Is a printer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yours is like the old.
You run
like Heidelberg press. That they would stamp. Stamp the paper.
That's what I was imagining.
But other than that, from there and then like where we're at now for printers.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Really
Yeah. So without spending too much time there, I went to work with him, and then I went to college, and I came back at Christmas and spent a lot of time with my girlfriend.
Sure.
And really didn't want to go back to school. I was borrowing money to go. I was broke as a joke. Like my family was broke. I lived with my grandparents, and they didn't give me money. Hate to talk about the way I made money, but I did. And I was like, I went back to work for him, and he said, this store in Asheboro is going to come for sale. Because I said, man, I'm thinking about not going back to school. Could I have a full-time job? Which he did. He said, yeah, it'd be great. There's this store in Asheboro opening up. People are running it. They're not doing well. And I'd like to get you to manage it if I buy it. I was like, sweet. So I quit college. Went one semester. Well, a year later, the store came for sale, and I said, hey, Jimmy, what's up with the store in Asheboro? He's like, I don't know. Something's not right down there. I don't think I'm going to do it. So I went out, and my friend's father was a fireman, worked 24, off 24.
Sure.
And he had a lot of side jobs, rental property. And I talked to his father about investing. So we bought the store. His son was still in college, and I ran it for like a month by myself with the ladies that owned it in Asheboro. And then he and I had to go to Beverly Hills for training for corporate. So you can imagine two 20-year-old, 19-year-olds in Beverly Hills. Yeah. Shit show.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, at least you had to be somewhat focused, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you had a print, so most of these people are like my age now, in their 50s, 60s. Right. They've had a career and they're wanting to buy a franchise.
Right.
So we're teaching them how to run the presses.
Sure, you're a little ahead of the game.
Oh, we're we're probably more ahead of the game than the trainers. You're right.
That's funny.
So we came back, ran the store, and it was great because the guy that I worked for really wasn't very happy about me leaving and starting this business. Thought I was competing. I'm like, dude, you're in Burlington. I'm in Asheboro. I'm not taking, picking. So the next year we went to Nashville to a big conference, and we were on stage twice for the highest percentage growth in the Southeast. We had the 300% sales growth, and we did 4-color process printing, which back then is a single color press. So you would run your magenta plate, then you'd run your cyan plate, then you'd run your yellow plate, then you run your black. And we did the Randolph County Beauty Pageant magazine or program cover. And that won. And I'm up on stage just looking at him like, yeah. Like, your ass don't even know how to run 4-color. Right.
Yeah.
So fast forward, John McKenzie, which I work for at Motorsports Designs, he started the Richard Petty Museum.
Okay.
So he was coming to my shop ordering.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He actually started that. Or I think they had it and they shut it down, and he started it back up. He was a huge Petty fan. And
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we were printing 10,000 flyers for him to go around the welcome centers around North Carolina when people come into North Carolina as a destination to go visit. And he loved the way I took care of him, you know, and he's like, man, I need somebody like you to help me run my business. And he and I became friends. We'd go have dinner. And
so he was doing a little bit of both. He had motorsports then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he started that in 82.
Okay.
So this was like 88, maybe 87, 88.
Gotcha.
And I was kind of disgruntled with my partner. You know, his dad put the money in.
Sure.
I felt like I was pulling way more weight than he was.
Sure.
He had softball tournaments, and every Tuesday night he's like, hey, you
got it?
Yeah. If you run, I'll come back and I'll staple it all in the morning.
Sure.
And then he gets back, you know, at midnight. And the next morning I'm in there freaking finishing the job anyway.
Yeah.
So John called one day and said, hey, buddy, how's it going? I said, for $0.25, I'd sell this sumbitch. And he's like, really? So I need to talk to you about coming to work. So that's how I went to work there. That's how I went from offset printing to, you know, racing.
Okay.
Racing decals.
Gotcha. Yeah. So was he doing any racing stuff at that point?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He actually probably, between he and Procal, Procal was doing stuff for Hendrix, like pinstriping and stuff on the car dealers.
Okay.
And John pissed off, got Hendrix. He was doing Tim Richmond's car. And you got to know, you know John.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was an acquired taste for sure. But he was very, I don't know. John was an interesting guy because he brought a lot of energy, you know, and he was very persuasive and like not in a salesy way, but just the way he talked, he sounded so confident and like he could just take on the world.
Right.
But he also had this good old boy about him.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, guy pat you on the back and make you feel good kind of, you know, and just, so I was fresh out of high school when I went in there. And I kind of had a similar story. I interned working with, and you may know him actually, Bill Harris. He's an artist from this area, but he worked with John, I think, doing some of the design work for the museum, if I'm not. Okay. And I could be wrong.
Yeah,
don't hold me that. But he's kind of their same age, but he was an artist and he was a local guy. He did T-shirts and stuff, and so I interned with him, and that was kind of how I got my. He could do like you watch him, he could take a paintbrush and just draw the Coca-Cola logo. I mean, he's just old school like that, you know. And so when I I already knew, you know, what I wanted to do. My dad bought me a plotter when I was 15. You know what I mean? So I'd already been out hustling at the local parks and stuff, you know. So I knew. But I wanted to be in racing and motorsports at the time. It was the biggest and the best.
Well, when I went to work, he started in 82. I think his first car was like the Piedmont Airlines car, I think with Terry Labonte, if I ain't mistaken. But he started doing Childress stuff. He gave Richard Petty his decals. He always had a logo behind the rear tire on the rear lower quarter and stuff like that. And
I was out at a restaurant not long ago and took a picture of it just because, you know.
Yeah.
It was just neat, you know, you see it.
Yeah. So when I went to work for him, he was a difficult man to work for. I believed in letting people, you know, delegate, trust them, train them, you know. And when I went to work there, I was a 7th employee, and he was doing, I don't know, about $1 million, you know, and it was all racing.
And this was 1992?
It was 1989.
18, okay.
Yeah,
89.
I started in December of 89.
Okay.
So I sold my store and went to work for him. He was like, you know, you need to be here before Daytona to help us.
Right.
So
Fun fact, that's my birthday month.
Is it?
And year.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What, December 89?
Yep.
So
Josh was born and you were starting at motorsports.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Exactly.
That's funny.
And, but I'll never forget, I went to work, he's like, he had been stagnant for a few years, but he had OCD. And John, if you're watching this, God bless you. But I remember going in his office and he had a stack of invoices, he had job jackets that was 3 foot tall. He had to touch every piece of paper in that building, every piece. Like, he started me in shipping, and I'll never forget the Kodak car, for Morgan McClure. And I had a handwritten work order. It was like, okay, 5 hoods, 10 quarter panels, 10 numbers, 5 roofs, count them out. I had to lay them out. He'd go down and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ship it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
The owner of the company.
Yeah. Every order. And I was like, dude, no wonder you can't grow.
Sure.
I mean, you can't give it up. So when I left, I think we had 70 some cars at Daytona.
Which is wild to think about.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. and it wasn't digital printing. It was screen printing.
Sure.
And hand cutting decals. He had a girl, Linda Martin, that would hand cut them. And I'd drive stuff to Kernersville. I'd drive stuff to this guy, Jeff, down here in Asheboro, that owned a sign shop down here. I can't remember his last name. And yeah, that car right there. Yeah. And it was like,
there.
I was like, dude, we need to buy a Zun, which back then was called Wild.
Okay.
We can't afford that. So I actually went to the secretary. I said, pull me some bills what we're paying these people.
Oh, sure.
Hand cut decals.
Right.
Like, I drive them to Asheboro and they might charge, I don't know, $1 a quarter pound.
So let me get this right. So you're screen printing them at Motorsports, and then you would physically take them, like box them up, put them in the car, drive them down to Asheboro, and Jeff and the boys would lay them out.
Drive them to Kernersville.
And cut them.
Yeah. And there was one girl, Linda, that she hand cut all day. She was amazing. Really hard worker. So,
but that's what they done.
Oh yeah,
That was their job.
That's insane.
Hand cut decals.
That's wild.
Sit down and hand cut, 20 Budweiser quarter panels and 20 11 door numbers for Junior Johnson.
I've seen this guy in, I think he's in like Abu Dhabi or something like that, but he'll go out and like, that's been going around.
Yeah, it's like he's got several
social media.
Yeah.
He just goes out and takes different colors of
it's
vinyl.
pretty cool. He'll just walk up to a random substrate, lay a piece of material down, and he'll just sit there. He did one at a barbershop. And just cut the guy. It was just cut the design of the guy's head out, mustache. I mean, he just did it with a hand.
With X-Acto? Yeah.
And I actually think it was like a breakaway, which is even harder.
Wow.
X-Acto, you can kind of roll with your, this thing. He's flat. It was pretty impressive. He can pull it up. It's pretty cool.
Well, with him, I went to him and I'm like, dude, we need to get a flatbed.
Sure.
So we can't afford that. And I was like, well, this is what we're paying. This is what we're paying. This is what it was going to be like half. He got pissed off.
Really?
Yeah.
Mad.
Who gave you that information? They shouldn't have gave you that. I was like, dude, I'm trying to help you run your business. Sure. That's what you brought me in for. Right.
Yeah.
So
you had a little bit of that experience. I mean, you were.
Well, I mean, I was an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, I knew how to make money.
Right.
I knew, my grandfather used to always say, I'd rather have an ounce of common sense in a book of whatever, book knowledge, an ounce of common sense and a pound of book knowledge.
I gotcha.
He actually worked at UNC Chapel Hill and he was in construction. He had to deal with these smart asses that graduated college that didn't know their ass from a hole in the ground, right?
Yeah.
So he dealt with that all the time. So I feel like I got a lot of common sense. But when I left Motorsports, there was 50 employees and we're almost a $5 million company. So, I helped him grow his company exponentially. And we go in all kinds of stories while I was there. But Lonnie, what you mentioned earlier. Yeah. We started doing installs and, Spevco used to do most of the trailers.
Yep. Like the expandable ones and everything?
No, just the car haulers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they painted all the letters on them. They airbrushed them. There was no digital printing. So if you wanted a car or a person, Spevco would airbrush it.
There was a guy that worked at Motorsports when I got there, and I think it was John's cousin, Bill. Or Bob, maybe.
Bob. Yeah. Bob Live and Good.
Live and Good, yeah. Funny as hell.
Oh, man. I love Bob.
Yeah, good guy.
He was.
But me and him got to talking one afternoon, and he said, Lonnie Parker, he was the first digital printer. And I said, what do you mean? He said, John used to bring people up and tell him he spent $1 million on this big printing machine. He said he'd tell people, he said, I can't show it to you though, because then you'll go out and buy it. You're gonna try to take all our work. He said, but truth was, Lonnie was in the basement with an airbrush, and he was airbrushing the vinyl with stuff.
Lonnie was awesome.
Yeah. But I always thought that was funny because Lonnie raced go-karts, and I grew up racing go-karts. And so me and Lonnie were just buddies. I mean, we got along great. And he would always tell me old stories about the screen printing stuff and just, he come from Disney. So I think he hand painted the faces on It's a Small World.
Yeah. Well, he would go in and like every 2 or 3 years, they would have to, the sun would fade them, and he'd have to go in and airbrush and brighten everything back. I think he even went underwater and did some of that.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
He's just an interesting guy.
He was. Yeah. We worked on some fun projects. I just told guys at Penske yesterday one about Don Perdome, me and Lonnie. It was funny.
Yeah.
But So
the gap. So how long were you there?
I was there from 89 to 98. So really about 8 years, because I was December of 89. So I really started in 1990. That was my first full NASCAR year. What was the big
takeaway? Like when you look back at it, I mean, like you said, you probably tell stories about motorsports.
Oh yeah. I mean, the big takeaway was just one, how the industry was changing, because when I started, they were hand painting stuff. I mean, there was a lot of cars showed up with hand painted numbers and, so forth. And then just the people, how to motivate people and learning the sport, and
so you didn't have any experience with racing before then?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I'd been to 2 or 3 races, but
I got you.
Really wasn't a big race fan.
Really?
Yeah. I used to work at a service station I started working at when I was 11. And when I was 12, we went to Rockingham. There was a bunch of drunks in the back room. They'd come up on Saturday and they'd get hammered. And they'd rent a chartered bus and we'd go to...
That's who you went with?
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'd go with all them.
Yeah.
They chartered a bus. And I came home one time, and this is in the 70s. It's like 76, 77. I came home with like $20-some. My grandfather's like, how'd you get that money? I said, they had coolers of beer, and they'd say, Tony, go get me a beer. And I said, it's going to cost you 50 cents. So I'd go back and get him a beer and bring it up and open it to him. So,
yeah.
But, as a young kid, I've always been an entrepreneur. Like in high school, I cut wood. I got wood from a lumber yard, all the twisted hardwood. And I'd hand split it. I'd cut it off. They'd bring it on Friday afternoon. I'd hand cut it off the trailer. The ones with the big spikes, you see riding down the road. I'd throw it off. They'd come Monday morning, drive the truck away, and then I'd cut it up, split it, and sell it for $35 a load.
So they were just going to throw it all away, and you just...
Yeah. Well, I don't know about throwing it away, but, it wasn't good for lumber, as far as them doing it.
Yeah.
But, so that's what I did. But, yeah, when I left motorsports...
which by then, I mean, obviously they had bought the flatbeds, they had bought the printers,
Well, no, that digital printing still didn't exist at that time.
Really?
Scotch print. I don't know if you heard of Scotch print. Yeah. Like I flew out, the first car image we put on a trailer was Bobby Labonte's Slim Jim car.
Okay.
And I had to, I didn't have to, I got to fly out to Gregory out in Kansas. And they had bought one of the first Scotch print machines.
Okay.
So I went out there for 2 or 3 days to learn about it and watch them produce it, just to understand the process.
What's the process like?
Well, they print on paper. So it's electrostatic paper. So they would actually print, it was a reverse image on paper, and then they would laminate it onto the vinyl.
They call it E-stat?
Yeah, E-stat.
E-stat, yeah. Okay.
So there was 3 trailers we did. I just remember Slim Jim specifically. So I went out to kind of supervise, learn, how they did it. And those machines, I mean, this is mid 80s was $1 million. I mean, there's a lot of money,
Sure.
right? And so yeah, I went out there, and people talk about printers. I mean, digital printing didn't exist. I mean, that E-stat, and who the hell could afford $1 million printer?
Yeah, it really wasn't practical. Right.
Yeah, and you couldn't cut it, so all that had to be hand cut.
So you're back kind of in the same boat,
right?
Did you ever get the flatbeds though? The flatbeds did come in or no? The cutters.
Oh yeah, but like there wasn't Onyx and stuff then.
Okay.
So I mean, you could set up and cut door numbers and hoods and quarter panels, but you couldn't,
couldn't do everything.
The E-stat stuff, And so that was really cool. And then, when I left, it was right after Daytona in '98. I don't know. I had somebody. I always had people say, "Why are you working for somebody? How come you don't?" Like I met Bob Brooks with Hooters. I had a good friend that was a chief marketing officer at Hooters. I'll never forget meeting Bob Brooks. His son was the one that got killed with Alan Kowicki, and which Mark and I had just hung out in Richmond the weekend before. I mean, he was a wild man. He was fun, and I remember us hanging out in Sheraton. Then he got killed the next weekend, and then it was after that. Bob Brooks, I introduced him, and Lynn Goff was like, "Yeah, this guy that makes all your decals, blah, blah." And he said, "So do you own the company?" And I was like, "No, sir." And he's like, "Why?" I don't know. I just work for this guy.
Sure.
And I had Michael Cranifis. I had several people that would say, "Hey, if you ever want to do your own deal." So I got real frustrated and came back and talked to my production manager. Was Rich Platt still there when you were there?
Rich Platt? I don't think so.
Yeah. And I told him, I was like, "Dude, like, you and I have been talking about doing this." I said, "I've had several people. I can't keep doing this. I think I'm ready." And I got called in the next morning and got terminated for starting my own company.
No way.
Yeah. Said, "You got 10 minutes to get off my property. I need keys to your company car, credit card to get off my property."
Oof.
So, bam. My wife's pregnant. I called her, "Come get me." And she's like, "I'm going to get an ultrasound." I ain't even got a way home, right?
Well, I was going to ask because, I just kind of assumed that you left, right?
Mm-mm.
So I'm sitting here thinking like that it's pretty bold because, a $5 million company in the early 90s, pretty big deal.
Pretty strong.
Pretty strong.
Yeah.
They own the market.
Right.
Absolutely. And so, in my head, I'm thinking, well, you're going to leave and do what? You're going to shift gears and go to something else. I mean, at this point, you're kind of invested. It's what you know.
Right.
So, you're fine. But it's what you know. So to think about, I can't imagine you. I mean, obviously, you didn't go a different direction. What made you stick with it? Or and probably another to that same thing is like, how do you think you would compete?
I thought about doing something different, because it's a hard sport. I mean, it's a hard business, and especially the traveling. Back then, I'd go 20, 25 races a year. I talked to some people. I had competitors, Bob at ProCal's called. Hey, I went and talked to Admark. They wanted to start. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, it was probably Tony.
I don't know. I dealt with the owner, Sloop.
Yeah.
And
Larry, maybe.
Larry. Yeah. I met with him like 3 times, and he offered me almost twice as much as I was making at motorsports.
Sure.
To start a racing division.
Yeah.
And it's a funny story. Can't stay here all night. But Larry and I are talking, and I'm trying to explain to him about how fast a turnaround it is. Because, I mean, back then, he'd get a Harris Teeter trailer, they'd give him a list, and he had 3 weeks to make it. And I'm like, dude, you might get 2 or 3 days. Yeah. Oh, it's not a problem. I I was like, I used an example of Junior Johnson. I was like, just the other week, they wanted to change the reflective vinyl and wanted it in 2 days. And I said, we got to be able to make it in 2 days. And he slammed his fist and says, I don't give a F about Junior Johnson. I want I want Budweiser's fleet of trailers.
Sure.
And right then I went like, I'm not taking my name.
Sure.
Yeah,
right then you knew he didn't get it.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
No, you're wanting to start this for the wrong reasons.
Right.
I'm wanting to do it to continue what we've been doing.
Service the market.
Yeah, like when I went to Rockingham after I got terminated, and I walked around and told people, and I bet I had half my customers go, what do you mean you got fired? I thought you owned it. I'm like, no, dude. They're like, you don't own it, But that's the way I ran this business,
Sure.
So I talked to, several companies, and I remember leaving AdMart because I was really looking at doing that. It was kind of exciting to start a new division for big company. I mean, they were big,
Well, both of them, right? Motorsports and AdMart, like they're both big companies. And that's in my head. I'm sitting back thinking, man, again, like to think you're going to go compete with those guys,
right?
That's a big, that's a bold undertaking.
Oh yeah, it was, it was, and I had guys like, well, man, why don't you just buy a cutter and get some equipment, put it in your garage so you can get open. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I remember Kip McCord with Bruco. He was talking to me about it, and I said, Kip, when I start something, I got to be as good or better than them.
Sure.
I mean, I can't.
That's even harder.
And I'll never forget him saying, well, how are you going to beat the monster that you created?
No shit.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
He said, how do you plan on beating the monster you created? Because we were,
huge.
Yeah. And we were good.
Oh, yeah. Efficient.
Yeah. And good.
Like I said, when I got there, it was a machine.
Oh, yeah.
It was a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Jobs would come through. There was processes and procedures for everything. It was unbelievable.
When I started there, he had screen printing up on East Fork Road. He had an office, little building. The main office was here. Art was 3 doors down, and shipping was underneath the building. I was like, you're paying 4 rents.
Sure.
So I convinced him to get this building off Kivett Drive.
Kivett Drive, yeah, that was the one I was in.
Same thing. It's like, we can't afford this. I'm like, dude, you're paying 4 freaking rents and all the driving back and forth and walking. Right. You're so inefficient, But anyway, so when I started the company, I started June 1st, and I started with a Gerber Edge and a 48-inch Graphtec to compete.
And those Gerber Edges were
11.8 inches wide.
That's funny.
11.8 inches, and I'm making decals for NASCAR.
Hey, Josh, can you pull up a Gerber Edge if you get them? Just for anybody that may not know what a Gerber Edge is.
I actually still have one.
Do you?
Yeah, we're one of the few people. I keep challenging Randy. I'm like, quit printing on that, because we can print like white on clear or chrome on clear. Sure. And
surprisingly still make foils and stuff for it.
Yeah.
What I mean? Like, that's pretty wild.
These look fancy. These probably aren't the ones.
Kind of looks like a little R2D2 machine.
Yeah.
Little box. It's got little ribbons loaded into it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There you go. Oh, yeah. That's a lot more advanced than they used to be.
Yeah, I thought that looked. This was probably more. Let's see here.
That's still, thinking about owning, starting to.
That's it. There you go. Yep, that's it. That's what I started with, that and a 48-inch plotter. And I'll never forget, Hensley Racing was my very first call. And it was a Lysol car for Chuck Bound. Chuck Bound lives in Asheboro.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there was a no germ. It was like a germ with a cross through it for no germs for Lysol.
Yep.
I bet we printed 100 of them trying to figure out how kept getting white between the red and white.
Okay.
When I started, I had that, and I hired 2 guys that I didn't know. And I rented a 3,000 square foot building. This one guy's like, oh yeah, he worked at some graphics company, and Mike Hawks and Jeff Owens, and Jeff had worked. I can't remember his background, but he'd done some, work in sign shops and hand lettered.
I think Jeff is still around.
Yeah,
think
probably is. Yeah. Yeah.
Funny story. Jeff was the one who I first saw sticking decals, and I was like, "That's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do that."
Is that when you worked for us, or
That was actually no. I take that back. Well, I didn't see you guys install a whole lot whenever I worked for you guys because I was just driving. I was the delivery driver. But I knew of installing. But when I left TDS, I went and worked for Sinorama in Greensboro.
Yeah. Jeff.
And they had Jeff come in every now and then.
That's what I thought.
And do
Jeff
stuff.
was a subcontractor.
Yeah.
But that was probably 2012,
Gotcha.
maybe.
Yeah.
But you're saying he was like number 2.
Yeah.
Or 1 or 2.
Employee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And, but so we're trying to make this decal, and Mike, he hadn't never run a Gerber Edge. I didn't know shit about production. I mean, all I knew is how to sell it and price it and install. But it couldn't be too hard, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we can figure it out. We finally figured it out. And I'll never forget this. We cut these big Lysols, just white.
Yep.
Cars painted blue and white. And all we had to make was numbers and stuff. And I had bought telephones, and staplers, and
all the stuff you're supposed to have for
vinyl, pre-mask.
Sure.
I didn't have a damn table to pre-mask it on. We're doing it. It's like, Jeff's like, hey, where are we going to pre-mask this? I was like,
that reminds us of whenever we moved in here.
Yeah. We wouldn't hear very long. And I was like, man, I gotta have a table.
Right.
And the guy's like, oh, there's a table in the podcast. I'm like, no, we need like a table. Like, what do you need a table for? I don't know, but we got to have one. I'll tell you that. We got, so
I remember calling my father-in-law, and I was like, Vass, is there any way you can go get me a piece of plywood and a couple of sawhorses?
Yep.
And he came in with this. I said, make sure it's smooth. It can't be like particle board.
Sure.
Right. And he brought in like a $60 piece of balsam, something you make fine cabinets out of. A $60 piece. But it was perfect, And then we ended up making some. But that's one of my funniest stories. It was just like, oh, shit.
So do you guys have a Rolls roller or a...
Yeah.
What's one of those cost? Hey, they got to be expensive.
I think it's $30,000.
Yes.
Yeah. We just bought it last year.
Really?
Actually, yeah. I got some big 24-foot tables with Formica,
I've seen the big tables in the production.
Yeah. But we were in Printing United last year, you were at SEMA.
I was at SEMA last year.
I saw you there.
Yeah.
But the Printing United show, Anton's like, dude, we really need one of these. Damn, $30,000 for a table?
For a production table.
Yeah. And it's only like 10, 12 foot long,
Yep.
I mean, but it's awesome.
They're slick.
Now you walk into a shop and they don't have one. You're like, where's your Rolls roller?
So I can remember one time I was listening to a podcast, and I remember the guy saying, and this hadn't been that long ago, but he had said, like, one day I'm gonna get a Rolls roller. And in my head, I'm like, kind of late to the game. This is,
It's like, how are you doing?
How are you functioning without, because they do some, that guy does a lot of volume. But yeah, once you get them, it's,
Well, we put most of our pre-mask on like with the laminator.
Yeah.
We just run the laminator. But the rolls, it's nice. It's like overlaying stuff.
But cool. You go from thinking $60 is a lot for a pair
$30,000 for a roll.
You got to have it.
Yeah. We got to get it.
That's right. That's right.
That's a success in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Finally made a Rolls roller.
Yeah.
So you were doing the, so you had good, obviously you had good connections, right? Mm-hmm. You were in sales. So you knew that's probably where a lot of that confidence come from.
Yeah.
You knew like, hey, I built these relationships and these guys are expecting, and they knew that you could deliver.
Yeah. Really I think when I walked around and a lot of people thought I owned it,
mm-hmm.
and they're like, well, man, I said, well, I'm thinking about starting my own deal. So, well, be sure to call me, so then it's like, okay, I think I can do this.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And Roush was one of our largest customers back then. They had, I don't know, 2 or 3 truck teams,
sure.
2 or 3 Bush teams back then, 2 or 3 cup teams,
yep.
Probably had 10 teams total.
Yeah.
And Jeff Smith and I, he actually asked me to, I guess everybody's cool with this. I mean, I'm throwing out names.
Sure.
But, wanted me to start, wanted me to start at Roush Graphics,
Okay.
To bring it in-house back then.
Sure.
In 1990. And
wow, no way.
Well, not 1990, 1998.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still though, that's still,
yeah. And I was like, you know what?
Just for racing?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
well,
probably that, but Roush is in so much stuff, right?
Yeah, that's where my head goes, right?
And,
like it's like I think they could justify it, like if they would have looked at the entire portfolio, maybe.
Oh yeah.
But like just for racing, it seems like, man, back then, even the big guys were still trying to figure it out.
Sure.
I mean,
nobody had it in house,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
And,
well, I just mean like as far as like ProCal, AdMark, Motorsport, those guys are still figuring it out.
Sure.
The technology's changing. They're trying to,
absolutely
make sure they're. Like you said, you got ESTAT and you got Scotch Cal, you got,
Oh, the industry changed a lot.
Really?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. In about a 5-year period. And I talked to Jeff and I was like, he was the president of Roush Racing. And I said, I'd be real interested in talking to you, but I want to own part of it. And he said, Jack's not going to have a partner in a division. You either got to work for us or got to start your own deal.
Sure.
Which I did.
Yeah.
But, and then I had
they never went down that.
Well, now they have.
Yeah. But I mean, like.
No.
Yeah.
No. And, I had some of their PR people, the people that ordered decals or I'd go and stuff. And they're like, why don't you come talk to us? And I'm like, it's like, I don't want one of my customers to be 60% of my business.
Right.
Right. So I think I quoted on it maybe 5 years later, we quoted on it a couple of times and, never got it. But then, Hensley was one of the first ones in Mellon Motorsports with Late Speed. He had Cartoon Network.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the first cars we did. And it was all ESTAT. And they had a different paint scheme almost. I mean, they were one of the first teams to ever, back, in the late 1990s, early 2000. I mean, hell, we had Joe Gibbs and I used to farm out my screen printing to a friend up in Ohio. And I'd get 70 sets of decals printed.
That's wild.
And I'd ship them 30 sets and I'd put 40 sets on the shelf. And I wouldn't really hear from them until July. And they'd say, hey, I need 10 more roofs.
You just pull them off the shelf.
Yeah.
Send them over to them.
But Melling, they had like, I don't know, a Dino car, Fred Flintstone.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah.
They had this happy birthday car, which my guys hated. It had like cake bladder.
I remember the car.
Yeah. That was the first car we did.
No way.
Yeah. And we had I had an ESTAT printed over in Winston. This guy, ad color, Tom Fulp, did a lot of business with him. And
Tom Fulp?
Fulp. Fulp.
It was a Fulp.
Anyway. He and guy Chris at Trim USA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Chris.
Yep. They actually started the business and bought it.
No way.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Chris wouldn't sell me vinyl. At first he said he would till John said, if you sell me any more vinyl, I'll never buy any from you.
Oof.
So Gregory, he said the same thing to them.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, that's it. That was the first car that was one of the first cars we did, which is.
Okay, so walk me through it. Which part was graphics? Which part was
everything?
Everything.
Car was painted blue.
Blue. So all the pink on the front end, all that stuff was.
Yep.
No way.
Yeah, which was an elaborate paint scheme back in 19. Yeah,
because I would have figured you would have said
98, 99.
That was painted. Maybe even the characters were painted.
Nope.
That's cool. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, hand cut and all that.
Whew. Or installing. I mean, that would be a pain. Golly.
Yeah. So that. I actually got a miniature of that on my shelf.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's one of our first ones right there.
Yeah.
So and that was way ahead of its time back then.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, because your traditional stuff. I mean, it was two door numbers, roof.
Right.
I mean, hood decal, quarter panel decal.
Home Depot was an orange painted car with a little
7
stripe around it.
decals on
Yeah,
it or something like that.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can buy that miniature on eBay right now for $46.50.
That's not bad.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah, so that'd be a pretty good return on my $2.99 diecast I bought.
There you go.
30 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, you said, no, you 27. That's what you said, 27.
Yeah, 27 years. Yeah. We opened in 1998.
Yeah.
So that would have been 19. I think that was what year is that? Was that 98? Because I think we did that the first year. It was either that fall or the next spring that we did that. But yeah, so the Cartoon Network car, that was challenging, but then
98, yep.
yeah. So I mean, that's like a month or two after we opened. We're freaking doing that car.
That's cool.
Which we never done. Yeah, I mean, there was nothing on the track back then like that.
Sure.
Yeah. I digress, but
yeah,
it's funny. One of the funniest stories I have, well, I got a lot of them, but McDonald's started sponsoring for Junior Johnson. That's probably like 94, 95, I think. Hutch Strickland might have drove for him. And this guy from Chicago, Leo Burnett, came down, and he had a stack of, it was like foam board with a design. It had a little flap piece of paper over it, and it must have been 10 or 12 designs. And he came down, and he and I drove up to Junior's shop, and Mike Beam was up there. And he's like, man, Junior's at Martinsville testing with Elliott. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, we got in his Ford Explorer, and we drove up there. And I mean, this designer had a ponytail. I mean, he was cool as shit, And we walk in a little Union 76 building, which is right in the middle of the track next to the hot dog stand. And he told him, like, hey, here's a guy from McDonald's, wants to get a design approved. He does this. I mean, they were some of the best, coolest designs I've ever seen. But they were so far ahead of their time.
Sure.
It had like French fries flying out of the carton, sesame seeds, had a hamburger with sesame seeds sprinkled all down the side. Every one of them. There wasn't nothing like that, right? I mean, nowadays it'd be nothing, right? You just print on digital printer.
That sounds like something that you would see at the track.
Right.
It sounds like it is like a
McDonald's still hadn't had a car as cool as those designs. Really? I mean, if they're listening, somebody needs to go find that guy's designs because they were badass. And I was like, man, you can't do it. Like, they'd have to airbrush that. It'd take them 2 weeks to be able to produce this car. They can't run that every week, Oh, yeah, they can. And Junior's sitting there. I actually got a picture on my desk of me decaling that car.
Really?
I ran across. I should have brought it. And Junior says, the guy doing it, and go, just shake his head. Shake his head. Wouldn't say nothing. He's got his damn overalls on, little suspenders. Mm-hmm. And he said, it needs to be a red car. It needs to have a big yellow M. White McDonald's on the quarter panel, yellow number. And the guy's like, we got to do more than that. And he turned around and walked out of the room. And you go back and look at Hutch Strickland's car and tell me what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's Hutch Strickland, number 27 McDonald's car. It was a red car. Like, even the M, he had some slanted M's and M's with a white box around it. Mm-hmm. And I'm up there putting them on. And he's like, just yellow M. Hey, did you find it?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean, sorry, I just went from I got ADHD by chance.
That's all right.
But anyway, go from the Cartoon Network car, just thinking what could have been.
How complicated that was.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
That's what he
That's
got.
Exactly what you said.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Little white box there.
Yeah.
It's funny that although these cars are have been long gone,
right.
There's I don't know if you know about it, but they have iRacing has a website called, well, I guess it's not iRacing, but there's a website called Trading Paints that people upload their car designs.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat to think about the fact that these cars,
that's wicked.
you can purchase this.
Oh, really?
Pack for your iRacing.
Oh, shit.
Car.
That's cool.
That is.
So to think about, that, scheme
Splash and go.
still being,
Yeah.
people are probably still running that
Oh yeah.
right now.
Well, Drivers Racing, it says 24.
There you go.
And 44 people have it marked as their favorite. And 1,000 people have viewed it. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yep. And that's why it's like, I think that's why this is, the podcasting is important, because, nobody would have known that was y'all.
Right.
I mean, as far as that, like I said, back then, everything was painted, right?
Sure.
So they wouldn't have known they would have just thought that's the team.
Just another wrap.
Yeah. The team just painted it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were lucky. We had on one of the guys, the designer from Hot Wheels, he came and done an episode with us. And so he designs all the cars, all the graphics on the cars. And that was kind of the connection, right? That, and he owns a school of racing graphics.
Yeah.
So he sells like pre-made designs for race cars, more local track guys kind of thing. But I'm sure some of his designs have been on the, in the Cup Series. But he's really good and really nice guy. But he designs the stuff for Hot Wheels, right? He's the guy that should be designing Hot Wheels cars. He loves racing, right? He takes it serious,
right?
And they hold him accountable for it.
Sure.
So it was cool for people to be able to put that face with the person.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I think that means a lot. And there's 44 people out there that are racing that scheme.
That car.
Yeah. And then so to know that that's what y'all done, like, and obviously there's thousands of them now.
Right.
That was in the 90s, y'all done a few race cars between
absolutely.
between then and now. So
yeah, that was cool.
I was in your lobby not long ago. I'd got myself into a situation, needed some PPF. Anton swooped in and saved the day. Yeah, he did. But shout
out Anton.
Yeah, shout out Anton. It was pretty awesome. But I went up there and I was sitting in the lobby, and in the building on the left, in the reception area there was a big picture on the wall there, the 12 car.
Oh yeah, the body armor. That was cool. Wasn't it?
That is a slick, dude. That thing looks so good.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there looking at it like, man, that's a good one. Like, if you were going to pick one to put on the wall, that's a freaking good one.
What, is that the Kobe Bryant one?
It's got like the fish scales almost on the front where it comes together. Yeah. That's what I noticed.
I see it all the time.
Yeah, sure. You walk right by. I was just sitting there like, man, that thing looks sharp.
Yeah, we actually have those up with Velcro behind it so we can change them.
Really?
But yeah, it's like everything else. It's like, oh, that's a great idea. But I mean, we have changed them once or twice.
So to go from a little 3,000 square foot shop to what is it now?
22,000.
Is that both buildings?
Yeah, between both. Yeah.
It seems like so much more than that. Yeah. Well, it just feels like a complex when you pull up on the whole thing. It's like, damn, there's a lot going on here.
That's crazy. The building on the right, when I built it in 2001. So I'd been in business 3 years and scared as shit to do that. But I was out of space in my little 3,000, so I was going to have to go to like 7,500, double space, and the leasing in Greensboro. I started in Greensboro, little business part. And then I was like, you know what? I really should just build something.
Sure.
I was kind of confident enough at that point that I thought we're going to make it, I mean, we really, I mean, the way my lawyer set my corporation up, I had a few investors to help me. And the way he did it, it was like sweat equity for me. And then I was supposed to get shares. And after 2 years, when it was time to get shares, he's like, shit, you can't get shares. It's going to cost you a ton in taxes. I was like, well, how come you set it up like this? He said, I didn't expect you to succeed. He said, do you know how many businesses fail the first 2 years? I didn't know you're going to be a $2 million company after 2 years. And so we had to restructure everything. But with the building, I actually
appreciate it for thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for the confidence.
Hey, we're a year and a half in.
Yeah.
But so anyway, that building, when I bought the land, I designed it. I'll never forget the builder called, and I had to do my construction draw. Like once they poured the concrete and stuff, he wanted $110,000. Graded the land, so you'd have to pay every month or so, him to help him cover expenses.
Sure.
And You'll never forget the day that I had to go to the bank. It was September 11th, 2001. And I told him,
it's not the day you really wanted to be at bank.
I said, I'll have your check by lunch if you want to stop by the office, you know. And my ex called me and she said, have you watched the news? I said, plane just crashed in. It's like 8, whatever it was in the morning. Mm-hmm. So I run back in the back. I had a little, I don't know, 15-inch, tube TV. Turned it on. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So me and Jeff Owens and Mike were sitting there like, oh shit, like what's going on? I was like, all right, guys, I got to go to the bank, get a check. So I go to the bank. They got a TV about the same size on the counter as the second plane crashes in.
Oh.
And I'm sitting here like, oh God.
This is not good.
I'm borrowing $375,000. And we're going to go to World War III, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I knew I shouldn't have built this damn building.
The World Trade Centers are coming down.
Timing is impeccable.
Oh my gosh. It was terrible.
That's wild.
It was terrible.
So Josh, you and Tanner are about the same age, right? Or is he a little younger?
Yeah, he's a little younger than me.
But either way, he was born by then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually left and went and picked up Cole and Tanner at Elon Elementary.
Really?
Yeah.
That day.
Yeah.
I was in school too. I can remember it was
I stayed home sick that day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
It's a good day.
Seems like you did that quite often.
Fair, yeah, that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Glad you're healthy. Glad you came out all right.
The funny thing is, like, I wouldn't be at home. I would skip school to stay in school. I just wasn't where I was supposed to be ever.
Yeah. You're in the band room, right?
Yeah, I was going to say girls or music. It was one of the two. I don't know which one.
Right.
But so yeah, you're making those kind of moves, like you said, when you got fired from motorsports, she's going to get an ultrasound.
Right.
So you're building this business and a family
at the same time. Yeah.
How was that?
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough.
Yeah, because we're not talking about a small business. I mean, you just said
that might be why I'm divorced now.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I tried. I gave it a good try, but no, it was really tough. I mean, because starting out like that Cartoon Network car, hell, I'd be there 11 o'clock at night hand cutting with them. It's like, hey, we need 2 sets tomorrow or 2 sets Thursday. And, maybe it's Tuesday and I need them Thursday. And, I get the Scotch prints back on Wednesday and we're there till midnight, doing that, driving them to UPS. I mean, for the first 5 years, hell, Robin's been with me first 7 or 8 years. I did all the payroll, sales tax, invoicing, order writing, kind of did it all, just working.
Sure.
Literally 12, 15 hours a day, I try to take the kids to school occasionally or pick them up. I'd go home and maybe eat dinner and bathe them, read to them, and go back to work. Stay to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And
so we did, we had Tanner on the podcast, and they had brought up a video, and I think you had filmed the video of him playing.
Yeah.
And I could just remember. I don't. Maybe it was on a phone or something, but
flip forward.
It's like a flip phone.
Oh yeah.
No, it was called a flip.
Oh, the camera.
It was it was the newest.
Yeah.
The newest camera.
Dude, I just ran across that. I still got that camera.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I do. It's white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
But I remember like that being like a thing. Like it was like my dad, I think, Tanner and Nick talked back before. He's like, yeah, Dad, that was Dad filming out in the thing. And so like you said, like it's you're running a $2 million company, you're bouncing around, 20 something, at least 20 races a year, 20 or so races a year and still making time. I mean, I think about like, people don't realize what goes into it. You know what I mean? Like they could easily look at you and say like, oh, okay, hard work, determination. Like, oh yeah, all that's important.
Sure.
And you're wearing a bunch of different hats too. Like you said, you're doing accounting. You've already said you were installing, you're selling. I mean, you were doing everything.
Doing it all.
Yeah. So it wasn't just like you didn't just happen to stumble into a good business model or,
Well, that and also having to compete against some of the best
Sure.
companies in the business. I mean,
well, and one of them you helped create,
right.
you know,
Right.
so you knew what you were up
Oh,
against. You know what I mean? That's kind of even scarier than just not know, you know, because if you don't know, it's like you could convince yourself that maybe it's not that scary,
Right.
but you're
Yeah, and then you get into it and it's like, oh shit.
yeah, this is
right.
but you knew.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, you knew all the equipment
Right.
they had. You knew the
Right.
sales team they had,
yeah.
all the equipment and
Pricing.
funding.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, they had all the money in the world behind them.
Right.
That you know, really, they could crush you.
Yep. I mean, it was scary for sure. Especially, you know, my daughter wasn't even born. I mean, she was born in September. The guy I mentioned screen printing up in Ohio, he came down. He was scheduled to come down like 2 days after my daughter was born, and my wife had a baby, my daughter Kyler, and I was like the night before, so it was like 5 o'clock in the morning when she had her. About 6 o'clock that afternoon, I said, "Hey, baby, I got to go meet Greg for dinner." He drove all the way from Ohio.
Sure,
I wasn't a big. It
didn't go over well. So,
but I'm like, dude drove 8 hours, right?
Yeah,
like I got to go meet him for dinner, and we end up, forming a partnership where he did all my printing, and it was phenomenal. Really, he's passed away now, but we were good friends. I mean, we fished, and
that's a big gap. You know, outsourcing your printing to Ohio back then.
Oh yeah,
logistics behind that sound like.
But he was really high on 3M's list. He had one of the first Scotch prints, and did he was back then was one of the few that was certified to screen print, that they'd give him a 7-year warranty on his printing, and just phenomenal facility. And it was all decal. And but I mean, minimum I could order was 15 sets, to be competitive price wise.
Sure.
So somebody like Fitz Bradshaw, that had channel lock, I'd order 15 sets. But it was funny. We'd run that little Gerber, like we'd run quarter panels, rear panels, headlight, taillights, driver names, lower quarter panels, and then I'd get quarter panels, door numbers, roof, and hood printed from him. We'd try to match it, or I'd send him something.
But yeah, because that's the other thing. You're outsourcing, and again, your competitors, they're all right here, and they're all where they were manufacturing, right? They could print and cut and install and do everything turnkey.
Yep.
So I mean, it was tough. It had to have been,
but it was amazing because like John, I got Chip Canassie's business, and we were doing the Coors Light car, Scott Kendrill. Would you know that name? Mm-hmm. We had a Coors Light hood hanging on the wall forever. It was a John Wayne scheme they did. Okay. And he always showed people, it was like, how many times I had to overlay that damn Coors Light? Because we'd overlay white, red, silver, and black. It's a 4-color overlay. Yeah. And so we would print everything on the edge except for the roof, door, and, or if there's a special paint scheme, we'd have to overlay the colors. And but yeah, I mean, somehow we made it work. I mean, it truly is amazing. I mean, just to compete against them. But one thing we've always had is great employees.
Really.
And, my slogan's always been, we make it happen.
Yep.
And people that work there, if they aren't willing to make it happen, they aren't going to work there.
Sure.
I mean, it's still, my son Cole worked for me 2 or 3 years ago. And he lasted a year and a half, 2 years. And he's like, Dad, y'all are crazy. He said, there's got to be easier ways to make money. I remember him telling me that.
Sure.
He said, y'all don't know how to say no to customers. Like, your customers run you.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's what this business was founded on.
Right.
If they need it,
we do it.
Know it in our vocabulary.
Sure.
If we got to work all night, we're going to work all night. If we got to come in on Saturday, I got guys that come in on Saturday, on Sunday. We got people that just bleed TDS blue.
Sure.
I mean, I meant to look at it today. I probably got 10 people that's been there over 5 years, 6 or 8 over 10.
I think I seen a thing of it.
It was in the lobby.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it because I was looking at it and I was like, what was the last number? Like the big
5 years. Oh, the last one's 25 years.
25 years. Yeah. And there was
3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty.
Well, I mean, I'm one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, but still.
You're still hanging in there. So that's good. And gave up yet.
Yeah. Anton's been there over 20 years, so.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
No way.
And, so that's really what separates us from other people. I mean, we offer good benefits. We offer 401k, health insurance, dental insurance, stuff that other shops don't.
Sure.
And, there's companies, I actually heard on one of your podcasts where you said something about people, Decal Source, they're a bunch of crooks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they meant by that.
Right.
Is it because we charge too much? Is it,
Sure.
I've had people say that, we buy business, we give kickbacks. We don't, I'm never giving anybody a kickback ever. I might take them out to dinner and buy them a beer.
Yeah.
But as far as saying, hey, I'll give you 10% back on what, that's not cool.
It's not how you make money.
Well,
by giving discounts.
Well, I mean,
all the time.
I've heard that, not necessarily about you guys, but I've heard people doing that in the racing industry, and it doesn't surprise me that it happens because it's so competitive.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's a hard business.
It is.
People look at it, and there's a lot of business. I say it a lot, like it's like 100 race teams within 60 miles or something. You know what I mean? And you could throw a rock and hit a pro race team. And that's all. That sounds good. Like, just come on down to Charlotte and you're going to have all this work. Right. It don't work that way. Like what, and I think Cole hit it right on the head. I mean, people don't know what goes into being able to manage, it's a lot. It's kind of unbelievable. I want to say this before I forget. So I knew, I knew Tanner, and I got to meet Cole. I didn't really spend much time with Cole. I didn't realize that you had a daughter, right? Mm-hmm. And so she came up. I was teaching a class at the school, and she came up to see Tanner.
Yeah,
and he had told me, he was like, "Yeah, mom, and my sister's coming up."
Right, right.
And when she come walking through, and I turned around and looked, oh man, like, she's gorgeous. I mean, she's beautiful, and she's walking through the shop.
I'm like, damn, who's that?
Well, I knew it. I knew who it was till I looked over. It looked like Tanner had his arms wrapped around, like, look, like trying to keep the wolves away. I want to stay the hell away from her.
Yeah, she is beautiful. She's my girl. Yeah. I mean, she's a nurse at Chapel Hill, in the vascular unit, operating room. She's a scrub nurse, which I always thought scrub nurse is like, to young MASH, that always, that somebody'd wash their arms, and put the gloves on. I thought that was a scrub nurse, to scrub them down, but she hands the instrument to the doctor, so it's kind of like scaffold, whatever, she's got to prepare the tray, and it's like, God, special.
Yeah. Sounds like she's the smart one. So that's good. It's somebody had to get the brains in this group.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding.
No, it's true. No, all my kids are awesome.
So, yeah. All right. So you're doing, at what point did it really blow up? Because it's massive now. TDS is big. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to gauge it. I don't know. For anybody that was listening, I don't know how to explain it to them, but it's, you guys went from 1-2 race teams to, I don't know how, I guess I don't know how it actually divides up, because to what I was saying, like there are a lot of race teams, but there's not a whole lot of you guys around that are doing the work, right? Like, I think we maybe named 4,
right?
And that's probably stayed pretty consistent, right?
Yeah, and from an installer point of view too, like a lot of overlap within, the different companies that are producing graphics too.
Sure.
It seems that we run into each other a lot,
Yeah. Well, it's just,
or work together a lot.
It's interesting to see though, like the growth, like, I don't know. You guys have always been as far as I can remember, right? So again, I'm coming in 2006, right? You guys were relevant.
Sure.
By then, but to go from even then to like you were talking about accounts like Gibbs, I mean, they were huge, huge accounts, absolutely. Right? So
Gibbs was we made stuff our first year for them.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you had that. So some of these accounts you had for a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, Gibbs was our largest customer before they brought it in house. You know,
How was that?
it hurt.
It had to have.
Yeah, yeah, that was a tough one because see how to say this the nicest way. You know, the guy I used to work for, I mean, we kicked their ass.
Sure.
I mean, really. I mean, once we got rolling, our service, our quality, the small things that we did, I feel like we're the best in the industry, you know, and we kept chipping away, taking business. You know, people would come to us, you know, they wasn't happy. And so when he sold his company, he went and basically screwed up the whole industry. I mean, he went to Gibbs.
Not just Gibbs.
Yeah, but I think that was one of the first. Well, it's Childress.
Yeah.
And then,
that's the one I would figure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's where it started.
Right.
Right. And kind of got them to be the hub, you know, to bring people in. And then Gibbs was second, you know, which was our largest customer. Right. I was like, son of a bitch, you know, right?
I got it.
And, you know, I found out they had a printer upstairs, and I actually talked to JD. Like, me and JD were, I felt like we were tight. Like, I could talk to him about anything, you know. I mean, I literally would go down and talk to him about some personal stuff. Great guy. And I talked to him. He's like, printer? What are you talking about? You know, and I'm like, come on, JD, you know. And then, it came out. They had it. And they asked me, like, will you continue making our graphics? And I still question that move because I know they're going to do it. They bought a printer, but nobody's done it. And I think they bought it like in November. And it's like, hell, you can't do 6 or 7 teams in a month when you don't even know. You got one printer, you don't know how to use it. Right.
Yeah. At that point, it's a giant paperweight.
Yeah. So they spent a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
That year. I mean, they spent $700,000 with us.
Golly.
And then Martinsville that fall was the first wrap that they did. I remember going over there looking at it, and the colors, from the rear panel to the side didn't match. It was a FedEx car. And I'm just
stuff they'd never let,
No.
It would have never.
No. Like, even that year, we had to eat 3 wraps because our black was a little brown. And they were like, this is brown, and under the lights, outside, it looks different. And so we had to print 3, and I'm up there going, that shit would never fly out of my shop.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
And so I always go back, like, I should say, no, if y'all want to start your own decal business, go, in January, go for it.
Yeah.
And even for them to try to switch everything over to ProCals or Red Eye or somebody, they don't have any of the files. And right.
It's a process.
Yeah. And you're right in the heat of it. You're right. January, we got to have everything done in 6 weeks. And, but I didn't, because I thought, if they find out they can't do it, then they'll come back.
Sure.
If I tell them to F off, they're going to go with somebody else. But they made it,
Yeah, I think made it is probably a relative, for us, so for me, it's been interesting because as on an install company, you get to see kind of the ins and outs, what I mean? And so people use kind of those two, RCR and Gibbs, are kind of like that's the 2 big examples that people use. But I've been in some of these teams, big top tier teams. I won't name them necessarily, but I've seen them kind of go through this process, and they say they got their in-house program and they're doing all their stuff, and they're really not. Yeah. They may be doing competition stuff, but they'll still outsource, their haulers, and they're outsourcing their graphics, and they're outsourcing their installation. So it's like, what are you really gaining? You know what I mean? But I don't want to get too far into that yet, because I got a bunch of questions there, because that's a hot topic.
Absolutely.
That's a good one. But I'm curious on the digital printing side. Do you remember what year that really, like, digital printing, like, that turned into that?
I think it was around 2006 or 7.
And do you put the Gerber in the digital printing space? No. Okay. Do you remember what the first one was for you guys?
It was a Gator.
Gator.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
I can't.
Never heard of it.
Mm-mm.
I can't remember the name. Was it McDermott Gator? I bought 2 of them, and they were solvent. And it had a big chain on top, came back and forth. And then we bought like 4 Mutos, and we went to Muto for a while. It's funny. Fellers actually told us, we'll give you a Muto if you'll buy your ink from us, but we had to buy our ink from them. So it's kind of like, I'll give you a horse as long as you buy the feed.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's breeders that do that.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of breeders doing it. It's a thing.
Yeah. So we end up, we bought one, and it's like, or they gave us one. It's like, hey, would you do the same deal again? So they gave us another one, but God, I only spend a couple $100,000 a year on ink, right?
Just ink, yeah.
And so, but the Gator was the first one. And then I think we went Muto. And then after that, I think we started with HP with the latex, which is, amazing.
Was that a big shift for you guys bringing that? What were you in-house at that point? Like, were you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You had already done all.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's about the time, 2005 to 7, somewhere around there, that, we didn't screen print anything anymore.
Yeah.
The only thing we screen printed was Red Bull. When Red Bull came in, Red Bull was like, when you think Red Bull, I want you to think the best that money can buy. And I showed them, I tried to match colors, and the yellow is kind of a orangish yellow, kind of mustardy. So it's got some magenta dots in it. The guy's like, that's not good enough. I was like, the only thing you can do is screen print it. Any digital printer, if you look close,
you're going to have that.
Yeah. So we screen printed 2 sets. And I can't remember. It was outrageous just for the prototypes.
Sure.
And they approved it. And then they ordered 15 sets.
Oh, wow.
And then they went to Daytona and they changed the scheme.
Oh.
So they're sitting there like on
holding all these graphics.
$30,000 worth of decals. After one race, it's like, well, if we digital print those, you might have one backup set, right?
Yeah.
And that's when they went to digital.
I got you.
But yeah, we hadn't farmed anything out in forever.
Sure.
Right now we got 8, we got 6 HPs and 2 Epsons and R2000, which is a flatbed that, prints roll to roll or, substrates.
Yeah, you talk about a team. You guys that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff. But again, when I've kind of got a little bit of a glimpse of the volume of stuff that you guys are doing, you got to have it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think I'd heard, and don't quote, but I've heard like 1 million square foot. Does that sound right? Printed?
What, per year?
Yeah, something like that.
That sounds right.
Does it?
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, there's days we crank out 20,000 square feet a day. It's insane.
That's a lot.
We actually got one HP that we're going to get rid of, and it's got almost 1.1 million square feet went through one printer.
And you guys have like second and third shift, don't you?
Second
shift.
Yeah, we got first. Yeah, we've had
Morning,
2 shifts now for, 10 years.
Yeah.
So I got like 6 guys on second.
So
that really was, you're just talking about employees to be able to have some kind of balance in life.
Sure.
In this industry, almost every day, somebody's calling at 2 or 3 o'clock. Hey, can I have it tomorrow?
Yep.
And if it's a wrap, it's going to take 3 or 4 hours to print it.
Right.
So ask somebody to stay till 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, almost every night of the week. You're asking somebody to stay.
Sure.
So we started second shift, and that's been great.
Yeah.
Because we can crank out 4,000 or 5,000 square feet on second shift. And we deliver 5 days a week to Mooresville, Concord. So
I was going to ask you that. Was there ever has that ever been a pain, the gap between,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think so.
It's just expensive.
Sure.
Yeah, especially when you got employees crashing company vehicles.
Oh, Josh, I wasn't going there. Total loss of vans.
Couldn't have been the only one. Right? Somebody else had to.
I don't think I was. I think somebody else had a story about.
At the time, it was, but there's been more. There's been more since you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you're driving that much up that highway. It's bound to happen.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I spent $56,000 on a plan I was going to build in Salisbury at the TRD. Where TRD is.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you used to turn in there was a sign that says "Future Home of the Decal Source," and it sat there for about 2 years. And I had the total plans for the building, everything, contract, and something just didn't feel right. In 2000, 2008. I think it was 2008. And David Wilson, which was head of TRD at the time, he just retired. I bumped into him in the infield at Daytona, and I said, David, I'm not going to be able to do that. I said, I just don't feel right. You know, my gut's just telling me.
Sure.
And that was a year that Gibbs, that fall, that they brought it in-house.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So
and I really was doing it to cater more to Toyota because they're a huge partner.
that's what I was going to say. There's some sort of relationship there with you and Toyota,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We do every Toyota Motorsports.
Yeah.
I mean, we host their branding on our website.
Yeah.
You know, we do the driver intro trucks. You know, Rob's going to Chicago next week. You know, we go all over decaling their trucks and cars and some trade shows. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. They've been a tremendous partner.
And they're huge in the sport.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're massive.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's why I thought, man, we can partner right there with them, you know, in their same
be right there
complex.
together.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And but I didn't do it. And then that's when I built my second building because I was like, okay, 1.2 million here or 350,000 to just add another building here. Right.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Well, but you say that, but like you said, I mean, you think about the expenses that you're having going back and forth between.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
got to be expensive.
Oh, yeah.
The liability there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there was a desire to get closer.
Right.
You know,
I mean, there still is.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it just makes sense. But man, it's just the money, you know. But then I send guys up and down the road every day. And if my installer works 55 hours, 15 hours of it's overtime and it's driving
Sure.
because it's hour and a half down, hour and a half back,
yeah.
you know? So, you know, you take that and you add it, you know, all of it up during the week or a month. And it's like, it's probably $40,000, $50,000 a year I'm paying just to drive back and forth.
You'd say it like Todd lives down there, right? Todd Harris, he lives down there. That's kind of the best case scenario.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get them down there, but you don't find them like Todd very often.
No,
you know,
Todd.
He's a good
amazing. He's amazing.
He's a good
I love
one.
Todd.
Yeah.
He is amazing.
Shout out Todd Harris.
Yes.
Good. It's
and we hired another guy in Salisbury, Hayden, and he's working at juniors with Todd.
oh, really?
Yeah, when they need to. So that works. And then we got I got another guy that works at Penske that's in Mooresville.
Yeah.
So, you know, that minimizes, you know, it's not just the expense for us, but also their time.
Sure.
You know, I mean, nobody wants to work 55, 60 hours every week. I mean, you know.
No, and with the race team, that's what obviously Todd's been doing that. Y'all have all been doing that program for a while. So I'm sure it's dialed in pretty good. Right?
Oh yeah.
You know, so that helps a ton, you know, rather than going in and starting something new and trying to, you know, cater to them that way. But even then, like, you know, competition, marketing, I always say the two are at each other's throat.
Right. Absolutely.
And we fall somewhere right at the very bottom of the barrel, just trying to, you know, help them navigate through. You know, we're trying to get it done. We want it to look good. They want it done fast. You know, all this. It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, our installer life right now is good.
Is it? That's good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, besides Daytona in January and February, which everybody knows, which this year I don't think they work any Sundays. And most of their Saturdays might have been like 7 to 1 or 2. You come in 5, 6 hours.
So
I'd say that's pretty good.
Can you give
seriously?
Could you give a description of what like a bad Daytona is? Because there's a lot of people that don't. Like us three, we know. You know, when you reference Daytona, we know what you're talking about. But
for people that don't know, that's January to end of February.
Yeah.
Right. 2 months of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Some of our, I mean, I'm going to say 5 years ago, I mean, we literally would run 2 shifts, 12 hours a day. I mean, there was, like, you know, like you start pushing February, you know, where you're a couple weeks before Daytona. And our first shift is supposed to be 7 to 4. And then second shift is 4 to 1. And first shift would come in at 5. And they would work till 5. And then second shift would work from 5 to 5. You know, there was an old cartoon there was sheepdogs, and it was like morning Sam, morning Ralph.
Yeah, as they passed each other.
They passed, yeah. So that's kind of the way, I mean, some of the guys would leave earlier than 5, but, usually like the supervisor, he's getting all the paperwork, so they're just passing,
But what made it like that? Like how did it, because it stayed that way forever.
Oh, no.
I mean, it was so much work at one time.
And same thing for installers. I mean, our installers would be there till midnight,
right,
and they have to be back 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 days a week,
Yeah.
And, but now like we have 12 full-time installers.
Sure.
We charge more. We've never been the cheapest, and I don't know if that's where people say that, we're, I forget what word you said. We're,
well, just so we're clear, that wasn't me saying. I was.
I know that.
Okay.
Yeah,
just so everybody else knows too. I don't want anybody misinterpret that.
Yeah.
That was me quoting somebody.
Right. And, I don't know if they, but the service we offer is, we take care of our employees. We offer great service. I mean, on my production report, I get 3 times a day. I get at 9 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, and 3 in the morning. So I know what second shift done, and then, what we got going on. And it's got how many days it's been in process, and half of them are 1 day. I mean, seriously, like if we got 20 jobs tomorrow, 8 or 9 of them's got yellow around it for 1 day. So
that means the order came in yesterday and it's going out today.
Yep.
24-hour turnaround.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hardly ever get much more than 2 or 3 days.
Really?
So we've created that.
Right.
I mean, really.
Right.
It's kind of like, okay, all right, we got to order decals. We got to order our hero cards. We got to order our uniforms. Decals is the last thing because they know that we're going to get them out tomorrow.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
And it drives Jerry crazy because he's got the schedule, he's already bumped things, and all of a sudden like, hey, colleague needs a car wrapped tomorrow, So
figure it out.
And we do.
Yeah.
We always do.
Yeah.
But it's gotten better. And really it's, the people we've got, just having people that's been there a long time. They understand, they understand the people that they need to prod to try to get something approved because they know they're going to wait till the last minute. And then, our efficiencies, Anton's done a great job. I mean, dude, we knock out 5,000 square feet in a shift. I mean, it's just like, yeah. I was talking to Randy. He's been with me going on 25 years this afternoon. I said, what do you think? He's like, we need some more stuff in here. He's like, man, stuff we got from now next week, we can do in a shift or not, by the end of the week, like today and tomorrow. And, because we've cranked out 20,000 square feet in 1 day,
I've seen, so, and you guys, especially, it seems like since COVID, especially, like it seems like you guys have really diversified, right?
Yes.
I mean, obviously, you do racing stuff, right?
Right.
Like that's how you started the company,
Right.
Been a big part of the company. You're still doing some of the biggest. I mean, I think Penske's got the last 3 championships, right? Yeah. I mean, so, that's like, obviously a big part of it, but you guys are diversified too. It's not like you're just doing racing.
Right.
Yeah. So I've seen like big fleets come out of there. I think
Yeah, we, I'm going to say 35-40% of our business now is something besides racing.
Really?
Yeah, we're really trying. I saw when Gibbs brought it in-house,
right.
We got people, like when a 1 or 2 car team started doing it, and I'm like, wow, like, man, this is concerning.
What do you think brought it? I mean, obviously, John helped it out a lot, but what do you think? Why would they? Where's the benefit? I don't, because I've never really understood it. Because
me either.
The service that you guys provide,
right?
And we're part of that too,
sure,
right? Like,
sure.
and I because I feel the same way. Like, I feel like, why would you want to try to? Because a lot of people, when I ask that question, they say, "Oh, they want the control or they want the money," and it's like, I just don't. They had all that.
I talked to a crew chief down at Daytona on a truck team, and he said, "Hey, we're going to bring it in house. We bought a printer at SEMA, and we're going to bring it in house, but and I don't do their stuff now." And I was like, "Man," I said, "Have y'all like run the numbers?" And he says, "Tony, racers aren't good with numbers."
Sure.
He said, "Well, we don't know math."
That's wild.
Because, one thing they don't have is like, they don't have to go get a building They don't have to get their lights, their insurance, all that's covered. But still, you got people, you got materials, you got equipment.
Yeah, because I would think that when I think about it, I think the infrastructure, not necessarily the building and all that stuff. I'm thinking about the designer, the setup guy, the production guy, the after it goes through production, how they stage it. Like,
sure.
I mean, it's I don't have to tell you, know, it's a full process. So to think that they're just going to wake up one day and just, we're in the printing business,
right.
Like, no, you guys race, you're a race team. You're not,
I really think if somebody did a serious, time study and how much it really costs, to make the decals, if they put, the insurance, they put the workers' comp, they put the salary, the equipment,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how they save that much money. And, just the space on the floor, what happens if the head art guy leaves?
Oh yeah. It happens.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah. And it's like, oh shit. Now what are we going to do?
It's a real scramble.
Yeah.
It really seems like, from my perspective, that they're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist.
Right.
That they're creating.
Yeah. Well, it's already been solved, right? That's the whole thing. Like, yeah.
And so, and it can't, I don't know that it's money. Cause like, if you look at a team like Gibbs, like they're not worried about, saving that much money realistically.
I guarantee
if they could save 100,000 out of $1 million, it's like, that's 10%. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. Like
but you're not going to save $2-3 million by going in-house.
No,
but you look at them and I think they've got 5 installers.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Golly.
I mean, that's a lot of installers.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure they're paying them $30-$40 an hour.
They got to be fair. Yeah. It's got to be a fair salary.
Absolutely.
And I look, so after, I think I worked for TDS for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
After I left there, I worked at Signorama and Fast Signs. And the big difference that I noticed was they were all trying to get one person to do everything.
Right.
And I'm looking at all the stuff that they're wanting me to do, print, production, installing, even cut, like designing, like customer facing people, and I'm looking at that like, my first entrance to the vinyl industry, you had salesperson, you had a designer, you had setup, you have, printers.
It's not really fair to compare your local Signorama to a TDS.
I know, but it's a lot whenever you know.
Yeah, but they only do 1 or 2 car wraps a week too.
Yeah.
Where we're doing 4 or 5 a day.
Right.
6. Yeah. But yeah, back to the commercial stuff. We do all the local police departments like High Point, Greensboro, Burlington, Elon, and then city buses, a lot of heat and air companies. Do a lot for High Point University, do some for Wait, and that's not car wraps. Like the university stuff's all walls, and just we're on High Point's campus quite often.
I think that's where my daughter wants to go to college. It's a beautiful campus.
Well, you better start making a lot more money. Or she's gonna be paying student debt rest of her life.
Well, she's a pretty good cheerleader.
Is she?
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah,
so that's good. That'll help some.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, it's a beautiful campus.
Oh, it is.
Me saying that, like we went out, we toured it, and it's
unbelievable.
Yeah, they've done such a good job. East Kivett used to be pretty rough. It's getting better.
It is.
Yeah,
it's still kind of rough.
It is. You get over
a mile over.
It's still a little sketchy over there, but no, that whole area is come a long way.
Yeah.
So,
but we actually on their campus probably 3 days a week.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're a pretty good client.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah. I know at one point they were. I'd heard that. Well, I mean, you just drive around, right? What's the iHeart HPU? You see it everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And every time I say, I'm like, man, well, somebody had to put that on there.
Yeah.
Somebody wrapped that.
Every one of those we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're everywhere.
They put them on buildings.
Yeah, the roofs, on the walls. Yeah. I mean, everywhere.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and they're giant.
It's crazy.
They're huge.
Yeah.
So that's been, as you look.
It's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you look towards the future, I mean, where are you at now with the sport? So we talked about it a little bit about how, obviously there has been some changes,
Mhm.
right? And I think, you know, like with the new bodies and stuff, right? Like I think that I see teams. I to our conversation about the in-house programs or whatever. I think it makes sense. Installation almost makes sense. I can almost see that, you know. But past that, I don't know what they're saving or how much better the programs are. But the sport itself, I mean, it's been pretty good to you guys over the years,
Absolutely.
you know. And so, do you think that that'll continue? Do you think that's as you look towards the future and seeing the changes in the sport and everything?
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to think maybe some of these teams, it's, you know, the smaller teams that are trying it. You know, we had one. They have a printer. They actually called us and was like, "Hey, is there any way you could set our stuff up and do a print file?" I was like, "No,
That's not what we do."
no."
Well, I seen something.
But we actually are wrapping their cars again, and they're using their printer for label printers.
Yeah.
You know, just for little. You know,
they're great for it.
Yeah.
Shout out to the label printers.
But you know, for their small stuff,
Yeah.
you know, or something brush, you know, they know just enough to get themselves in trouble.
But
you know?
I seen something with you guys, and I don't want to say this wrong, but like maybe you were maybe sponsoring the Cars Tour or working with the Cars Tour in some fashion. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I mean, is there?
Well, I mean, part of it is.
I think about TDS. I think about you know, you guys.
Oh yeah.
You're a professional graphics resource.
Sure,
you're doing you know, Penske cars, and so when I think, you know, when I see you, like I almost felt like it was almost like an outreach program or something.
No, you know, I mean, I love
like giving back to the grassroots of it kind of thing.
I mean, it kind of is.
Okay.
You know, and that and partner of Dale Jr., you know, I mean, they pretty much run the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he and Kevin. But at the same time, especially in our early days, man, I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the, you know, you take Bill Davis. You know, I did Jeff Gordon's Baby Ruth car.
That's cool.
And then you go up to where next thing you know, he's running 4 trucks and 3 cup cars, you know. So, you know, some of these, I don't know how many are going to do that, you know.
What do you mean, drivers or teams?
No, just teams.
Okay.
You know, that grow, you know, so they could grow from Cars Tour into Xfinity into, you know, possible Cup.
Gotcha.
You know, we grew a lot like that. And then, you know, some of these, you know, late model teams didn't used to have 53-foot car haulers.
Sure.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. It's wild.
Oh, yeah.
So we went to a Cars Tour race at Caraway last year.
Yeah.
I think Kyle Larson went out there and ran it. And we just went to watch, you know, thought it would be cool. And it's
a different game.
It's a different game. It ain't like it used to be.
Is.
You know,
I mean, we, I don't want to say it's an outreach, but we would welcome, you know, and also to try to, you know, help any of these guys. Like I got a hood in my office where we were going to do a deal, trying to do an online, you know, letters and numbers, you know.
Sure.
I forget that there's a company out there doing it. And so we kind of helped Josh Berry for, I think, 5 races one year. And
that's cool.
I got his hood in my office. It was
that's really cool.
Chrome blue. Yeah. And, but yeah, I went out Ace Speedway and talked to him, you know, when he was running the car. But I think it's more just trying to support the series, you know, which I think is why, you know, Dale Jr. is doing it.
Sure.
You know, it's just, you know, trying to keep the grassroots, you know, you know, so it's getting our name out. You know, we're trying to market more. Our social media is getting to pick up a lot more. I got a guy in charge of that. I mean, we've been really fortunate. We've never really advertised, you know. I mean, we grew just from word of mouth,
Sure.
you know. And like all the police departments. And there was a guy that drove a truck for Fred Turner back years ago that Sterling Marlin drove for in the Busch Series, you know, in the early 90s. And, you know, he was a lieutenant of Greensboro Police.
No way.
Yeah. And I used to talk to Robbie. I think he drives Joey Logano's bus now. And Robbie Flinton, he's like, "Man, you're interested in doing police cars?" Yeah. Yeah.
Love to.
And he brings a captain by, and we've been doing Greensboro Police ever before. You know.
There you go.
So, you know, just stuff like that.
You never know where it's going to come from.
Right.
You know, with a lot of these drivers now, you know, they're bringing the money.
Right.
So they make the calls.
Sure.
You know, and
Sure.
a lot of people don't realize that, like, not only it's kind of like, you know, you talking about starting TDS, it's like these guys got to be, you know, their own marketers. They're running their own business.
Right.
You know what I mean? They've got to, they're bringing the money, but they also have to perform when they hit the track. And, you know, obviously some of them have their help from their parent, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But like, you know, a lot of them don't. They're having to do it on their own.
Sure.
And so if, you know, hey, if I'm stroking the check and I want, you know, this person making my graphics, that's who's making the graphics. So I can see that. That makes sense.
That's funny. The only car we've ever done for Hendricks was Chase Elliott's car.
Really?
God, what was his series that he ran? It was before Xfinity. But his mom, we did his stuff before he signed with Hendricks.
Okay.
God, it's driving me crazy, the name of the series. But she told them that they wanted us to make the decals. And I remember we went in, something was wrong. The numbers, they wanted to change it. And I mean, this years ago.
Sure.
I can't remember. And said, well, can we just ship the numbers? Like, no, Mr. H don't want us putting decals on. And we had to go down just to put door numbers on.
Just put door numbers.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Sounds about right.
I was going to say, working with those guys as long as we did, that's kind of the way it goes. Mr. H says something, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, but, you know, was it Lance? Lance Grew? Was that?
Yeah, Lance McGrew. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's who we talked to.
Yeah.
And he told Chris that worked for me, he said, if it doesn't make the car go faster, that he don't want us touching.
Sure.
You know, and, you know, Penske, you know, we do their IndyCar, sports car and all.
Sure. That's a huge program.
Yeah. And, you know, their guys will, you know, they help, especially on the sports car and IndyCar side. But, you know, you take two of the most storied programs, you know, I mean, obviously Hendricks.
Sure.
You know, that aren't doing their own decals.
Right.
I mean, Red Eye's done a great job over there. Jim's,
sure.
I like Jim. And
he's fantastic.
Yeah. And it's really like, you know, these guys are over here trying to save $100,000, $200,000, and other guys are winning championships and races.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, where do you put your focus?
Right.
Unless you know you ain't got a chance in hell to win a race, and let's try to save $100,000 because we want.
Yeah, but then it's almost like the start park stuff at that point. Right. Like you're just racing for 10th place.
Right.
And that
trying to save money wherever you can.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the scary part about the sport for me is like, you know, people being able to buy their way in, and obviously, like, you know, I get it. Like, you know, money talks.
Right.
But when you compare it to other sports, you know, that's kind of that's always been I got buddies that all into, you know, ball sports, you know, football, basketball, whatever. And it's like, you know, you can't pay to play there.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
But
now you got to have some real talent.
You got to have some real talent. Yeah. But, you know, but in our case, like when you see standout drivers, like people that are genuinely talented and they make it, you know, it's awesome. But then, you know, and you see it in other racing forms too. It's not just NASCAR, but I don't know. It's interesting because of it. I hate that it's that way, but that's just the sport, you know. But they bring it's exciting when I think about, like, when I look at how the businesses have, I say businesses, how the race teams, because I guess they've kind of turned into businesses.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so it's like when you've got those guys that are looking at it from a business aspect, and then you've got people that are super passionate about it, and that, you know, they're all in, and they're trying to make these things happen. It's like they can't imagine what you're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't have a real good gauge of it. And that's the unfortunate part, because I think if they did, not just from a number standpoint, like you said, like being able to turn over graphics, like the fact that that's a common thing for you guys, like that's just like that's just what we do. That's, you know, it's, most orders are just they put in yesterday, they get them today, and that's just how we do it. The fact that's the expectation is wild. Like
it is,
you know, because you know they can't do that.
I mean, we literally have at least one or two every week that we'll start designing in the morning. Send, revision, send, revision. Guys, if it's going to ship tonight, we got to know by 3 o'clock.
Sure.
You know, so we get it on the print, you know, print it, either install it tomorrow or we'll ship it tonight, because we got UPS picking up at 8, you know, so, I mean, we can ship some stuff out, but, you know, it's like, there aren't many people who can do that.
No.
I mean, you know, and there's not many people willing to do it. you know.
I mean, you just think about just the design process.
Right.
Just the design process. I mean, you got to have somebody that knows how to design, knows the sport, knows. I mean, it's a pretty specific person, and you guys turn out some pretty badass stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, consistently. You know what I mean?
Kyle Williams, he's amazing.
Shout out Kyle. I follow him on Instagram. I watch his stuff. He's good. He does a good job.
He is. He's very passionate about what he does.
Right. And I think that it shows. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like that's when you bring that together, and you know, it's kind of unfortunate because when I got to motorsports, there was a bunch of badass people there.
Mm-hmm.
They knew what. I mean, you know, Lonnie, he had been doing it forever. Right. He was badass, you know, and most of those people wanted to be there and they wanted to be part of it. So then you start adding these little sub things everywhere. It's like you split it all up and it kind of messes with it a little bit. Right. And I see some of the cars on the track now and I'm just like, God, that is the awfulest mess I've ever seen. Like, that don't even look like a race car. Like, what are you doing?
It's just like van driving down the road. I mean, 20 feet away, you can't read a damn thing on it. You know, it's like, what is that? You finally get all the way up to the bumper. It's like, oh, okay. But it's got so much clutter. It's just like, that's terrible.
So we were out in Vegas. Me and you had a good conversation about this. It's funny because over the last few years doing the training stuff, I've kind of gotten more into the wrap industry.
Right.
Like really got into the wrap industry and like meeting the people and seeing how all the things work. That's something that you weren't really a part of that community.
Mm-mm.
Like I mean, obviously you were.
Yeah, from the outside.
But like as far as like being like, you know, going and doing the meet and greets and talking and, you know, knowing all the stuff, that's not me. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I enjoy it, you know, but I feel like I've always been too busy, you know, and like I just posted something on social media maybe this weekend. I've never posted anything with a driver or, you know, car or anything. I've seen it. I've seen the post.
Yeah, Bobby Labonte.
Yeah, and when I seen it, I thought, well, damn, that's kind of odd. I don't think I've
never, like, I've never asked for autographs.
Sure.
I don't go try to take pictures with the drivers.
And you've been around.
Yeah, 35 years.
The best in the business.
Yeah.
I mean.
But Bobby and I put in the post, the very first decal I ever put on was with him.
Really?
And I just started at motorsports in December of 89, and Bobby's rookie year was 1990. And John's like, hey, can you run these out to Bobby's shop? And I met him because he came in the lobby to order stuff. And, you know, he's a couple years older than me. He's such a cool dude.
Yeah.
And I bumped into it. Well, I carried him out there, and he said, hey, man, you mind helping me put this hood decal on? I was like, embarrassed. I was like, dude, I've never put a decal on. I'm just a shipping guy, right? He just asked me to bring these out. He said, well, can you at least hold it for me? I was like, yeah, you know. So we're sitting there talking, and you know, so we formed a friendship. And
that's cool.
You know, back in the Bush days, man. I mean, Bobby Labonte, Steve Grissom, Jeff Burton, Ward Burton, Jeff Gordon. I mean, you know, all those guys were in the Bush series at the same time. That was the best racing. I mean, that's really when I became a fan.
Sure.
And I'd go by and sit on the back of the trailer and talk to him, lean on tires, you know, and Bobby and Terry, you know. Terry had a Bush car, and but Bobby's always been my favorite. I mean, he's such a cool dude.
That's cool that y'all are still.
Yeah, and I bumped into him in Charlotte, and we sat there and talked for forever. And when I started, he laughed. He says, man, I kick myself in the ass every time I see you because I told him I was going to do this. And I talked to him and Kyle Petty to see if they were interested in you know, helping me get started.
Sure.
And he said, I kicked myself. I remember you telling me that you're going to start. And I was like, he said, I wasn't really in a position to do it. And, you know, I was kind of scared to do anything. He said, God damn it, I should have, you know.
He's got a nice shop over in
Archdale.
Yeah. No, what's the one right there? I guess there's two of them. The old race shop.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that was his place. And when I started looking at property, I was looking for a space to put the equipment and stuff. And I'd ran across his place, and I kept, you know, because right there off the highway, I could see it. It looked abandoned.
Yeah.
You know, because there, you know, nothing's going on over there.
Right.
I tried looking up research. I was trying to find out who. Finally, Michelle, Jim's partner.
Yeah.
I can't remember how we got on the subject, and I told her I was looking for space, and she said, "I said, man, there's this place right off the highway." I said, it's fun, odd looking little space. And she was like, oh, that's
Bobby the
that's Bobby the Bond's place. And I was like, get out of here. Like, and it's an old, I guess it's an old race shop. Yeah. But it just sits there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, dang, dude. Like, but the other one is SSG. Is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah. The one beside his.
Now that's slick.
Yeah.
Like that whole setup over there.
I don't know if he still owns that.
Oh, no?
Yeah. I'm not sure. That's the last place I met with him was there. But he had his helicopter get on the track and take him in, you know, into the garage.
Oh, yeah.
Motorhomes and stuff underneath. And
People don't realize. I mean, I was thinking about that earlier. You had said something. It's like the high profile people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've been around some of these people for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think people have a good grasp on like when we talk about, you know, professional athletes and you know, but the kind of money.
Oh God,
it's unreal.
It is.
I mean, they all have helicopters. They all have yachts. They all have mansions. They all, you know, and it's not uncommon. I mean, that little place over there in Archdale, you wouldn't know that. I mean,
no, you would have no idea. Yeah,
it's like behind an old antique shop or something. You know what I mean? Like, but and so, same with like a lot of these. Like I think Penske, they've got. I think they've some sort of record for like the biggest tile job in the.
Oh yeah,
you know that whole shop is
yeah.
just nothing but tile.
Yeah,
but
Roger actually wanted that color and he couldn't get it. And the story I was told, which I believe, is that he had it made as Italian tile. And in order to get it, he had to make 200,000 square feet of it. Okay. And he did it. So he's got pallets of it. And you'll go in there sometimes and there's one tile that's cracked and you'll have tape on them. And a guy will come in and chip it up and they'll replace the tile.
Just because he has them.
Yeah.
So they'll always match. They'll always, It's unbelievable.
It is.
I mean, so I got the opportunity to go over there. So Motorsports was still doing some of their stuff. Now, this has been a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I was doing some of their IndyCar stuff, some of the road course stuff. Obviously, you guys had the Cup stuff. Yeah. And it's an interesting place to work.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of built a system to where we tried to fall in, you know, gray shirt, black pants. We just wanted to be neutral and sterile. It didn't matter if I was there for TDS, it don't matter to me. You guys make the guy. I'm just here to stick.
Right.
You know, and then same for the team. You just try to blend in and not cause a ruckus. But the reason I brought that up was I think that motorsports they're not doing any more racing stuff. No, they're completely out. And I want to say that was one of the last.
Yeah, that was their last account.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's wild to think over the years that's how it went. You know, I don't. It's almost unfortunate. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know, you hate like maybe not you, but there for me it was like, man, it's kind of an end of an era,
right?
You know, because they were the Mecca,
right?
You know, you guys, you guys paved the path for all that. There was a couple things I wanted to hit on, and I think just now what we were talking about, just that whole, you know, being able to you kind of stand. Like I said, when I went out to Vegas, and or not Vegas, but when I first started dealing with the rap industry, I'm walking around thinking I was somebody. You know what I mean? Right. I'm like, gosh, the type of customers I got are huge, and I'm looking at these other businesses. I'm thinking, man, you guys are. You small fish.
Yeah, you guys missed the boat.
Yeah, like what am I looking at here? You know, and but they're great people with great businesses, and they're all doing successful. I mean, they've all found their niche, and they're doing their thing,
doing quality work.
Right. Yeah. But I'm thinking, you know, you guys should. Y'all don't know how big a deal I am, right? Because I'm doing work. I'm working with TDS. I'm working with motorsports and all these.
Damn, I got NASCAR champions wrapped
and nothing. They don't know nothing. I don't even know how it stayed under the radar as long as it did. Like, I think now there's a little bit more. People recognize it a little bit more, just because. Probably just because me, I run my mouth a lot because I think it's important. I think people should. I think they should see what's going on. I mean that. They don't know what it takes.
It's amazing. I mean, people don't realize the cars are 100% wrapped.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
My dad called me.
I mean, even like a special paint scheme. I mean, a simple paint scheme is still wrapped. I mean, it could be black with a stripe down the side and a number.
Yep.
But it's wrapped.
It's a wrap. Right. So my dad called me. It's been about maybe a month ago, and he was like, he called me just to tell me, he's like, this is the first time I've ever seen this. He said the announcer fixed himself. He referred to it as a paint scheme, and he said, well, never mind. We don't paint anymore. These are all wraps.
Right. Thank God, finally.
But I mean, it's been that way.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you were wrapping cars in the 90s.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
And whenever I first like got into the racing stuff, actually wrapping them in 2016, Hendrick they were still painting their bodies.
Still,
Oh yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah, Chad Knaus he was pretty hell bent on
Wrapping.
But
paint.
Oh, paint.
Chad's cars were going to all be paint. All those cars were going to be paint. And then we had shown out on a couple of Jeff's cars, and they, not just us, obviously, like I said, Jim's great. Jim does a fantastic job. I mean, he's just thorough.
Yeah, he is.
But he's gave his life to it. I mean, he don't play around. He gives it his all.
Right.
But between the mixture between the two of us, I can remember the night Chad came over and he looked at the car and he was like, he's down on the ground and he's looking at it and measuring stuff and like, you know, I'm shaking. I'm worried to death. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? What did we do wrong? And he stood around for a minute. And he said, "That looks good. That looks real good."
Yeah. You're like,
can you make our cars look like that?
yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. I'd be more than happy to.
Right.
And obviously there's other stuff that goes into it, right? It's
because like Jimmy Johnson, they just posted that video of him talking about the
pull it up.
7-time
Has got it.
championship car.
Yeah, the championship car, they put him in the back.
Was it on Legacy?
Oh damn, I don't know.
I think it was on Legacy.
But like, I mean, well,
I mean, you'll have Michael Waltrip on there. It's like, boy, that's a nice looking paint scheme right there. It's like,
yeah.
Michael, the fucking car's wrapped.
sure. Yeah.
It's like, why are you calling it a paint scheme?
Sure. So earlier you mentioned that Anton's been with you over 20 years, I said.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you said something else. You were like, having a guy for that or being around.
Anton's actually the president of Decal Source.
I wanted to point that out. I think that's important to note. So my experience with Anton is always, he's kind of been professional and like
absolutely
clean cut. I mean, he fit. I've assumed that he was when I met him. I was like, damn, okay, this guy, he's the next guy in line.
Right.
I didn't know any difference. And honestly, I thought he was a little uptight, little, kind of.
Yeah, he can be.
You know what I mean? Like he little intimidating. He's very thorough and to the point, And Jesse Engel, me and him got talking one night and pulled me aside, and I'd said, I don't know, I ain't saying nothing to Anton, it ain't pissing him off. And Jesse was like, "Oh man, Anton's cool, you know that, right?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't know that." And he was like, "Yeah, he's not whatever you've built in your head. He's not that guy." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He was like, "Anton's been with the company for a long time."
Yeah.
Like so how did he start? How did he come into the company?
He started part-time shipping in college. Seriously. He's the smartest sumbitch I've ever met. I mean, he is a smart dude.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I thought that was so funny when Jesse told me that. I was like, no way. He was like, dude, he's been working here from college. He's like, I remember
every department he's ever touched, he's increased threefold. I mean, seriously, he started part-time shipping, full-time. Then we put him on the cutter because at one time we had 3 graph techs. Okay. I mean, we didn't have a flatbed.
Sure.
And he makes hotkeys for shit. He's figuring out, the leaner way to do this and that. Sure. And then he went in the art department, and then he was art director. And then I had him as operations manager. And I mean, I can put him in sales, like a salesman lead, and he'll sit in a chair for 2 weeks. The next thing you know, he's got 3 new processes. It's like, why are we doing it like this? It'd be so much quicker if we do it like this. And I mean, he's like today, I'm going to spend $50,000 in damn software, but it's for scheduling installers and, cameras on the cars that track times and, our install schedule itself and pictures where they can be there and pull. I mean, it's called, Stop Hub. It's the core, but it also works with website integrating. So it's so much. I mean, he's a damn smarty. He's like, "What do you think?" I said, "Do it."
Yeah. Do you think it's good?
I said, "Yeah." And I said, "If you like it, I love it."
Yeah.
Just do it, because I got that much confidence in anything he does.
But I think that's cool. That I think obviously you guys being able to offer insurance and time off and, managing expectations and working with people like in this space, because of the demand is so high, just that says a lot, right? Like y'all's capability or just adding the next shift, right? Just to spread out some of that workload and make it where it's kind of manageable or bearable, like that's important. I also think it's pretty awesome that somebody can go from working in part-time in shipping and be the president of the company. I think that's pretty awesome. Now, obviously, Anton's, he's a good fit for it.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
But the point I'm trying to make is the opportunity is there.
Anton's a guy that would be at Vegas hobnobbing with everybody. he loves that shit. Like,
see, and I didn't get that.
Yeah,
for some reason for years I didn't see
our
it.
software is Serious Software. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah,
it's for sound making. And he's gone to forums. He's actually taught them.
That's cool.
He's always like networking. Like, he loves to just go network and shit.
Yeah.
For me, just give me a beer. Let me go to the bar.
Yeah.
Right?
Shoot the shit with the guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's,
I don't want to be on stage. I don't want to be on the forum answering questions and stuff.
So
like
this new, the 3M training role, right? I try to stay on top of it. I'm watching, I'm talking with everybody and making sure that, I get my fair share of trainings like everybody else.
Right.
And there was one that popped up in Charlotte and I didn't get it. Now it's odd, because like I told you earlier, I'm going Canada, Mexico,
right.
California, all over the place. There was one in Charlotte and I missed it. So I called my 3M rep and he says, no, Anton's doing it. Anton? I said, how the hell did Anton end up with the training gig? And so he says, we get talking back and forth. He said, no, it's Jerry. But Anton was the one that put the thing together. And I thought, damn, that's Anton. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's him. Like that. Like he's on top of that stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool. But when they said Anton, I was like, what? What's he going? What's he going to teach?
Yeah, I hadn't even heard that. When is that?
It just passed. It was at a Grimco. It was like a.
The Grimco thing.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but like so for me, it's like they'll bring in like they'll call me and I'll show up and I'll just kind of stand there and walk people through the process and everything. I thought that was cool. I think for Jerry, I mean, I haven't talked to him. I don't talk to Jerry regularly, but I have to assume that had to have been pretty cool. Pretty cool experience to be out there and doing that. And so I don't know. I think that I was kind of excited. I was like, that makes sense.
My Anton story is I use a phrase called it goes safety never takes a holiday. And the first time I ever heard that was at TDS. I was cutting down.
This is before or after you wrecked the car? Because this is important.
After.
Okay.
After.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They put me on.
We probably wouldn't let him drive anymore.
Yeah. And until they figured out what they were going to do, I was putting together like a stand. What were they called? Standees?
Standees, yeah.
Yeah. So you had to cut. They had me cutting down the aluminum things that the banners were going to roll up into. And I just remember so vividly us sitting down outside in front of the door, and he's got his safety glasses on top of his head, and he goes to start showing me how to do it and cutting one of the aluminum poles, and he's like, pulls his safety glasses down and says, "Safety never takes a holiday."
I had never heard that, but it doesn't surprise me.
I don't know what. I just remember it's a vivid memory that I have.
Mine was a couple years. It's been a few years probably. But y'all went and set up on the backstretch at the backstretch at Charlotte. Yeah.
You came to that.
I did.
Yeah.
So Logan.
Yeah.
He worked for you guys for a little while.
Yeah.
He was running printers. I think he worked second shift. Longtime friend of mine.
That was the first time I met you.
Yep. That's the first time we actually met. And it was first time that I seen Anton kind of let his hair down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
drinking a beer and
just being one of the guys. Like it was a weird wow. Yeah, it was like, dang, Jesse was right. This guy is just he's just a normal dude. So it was really cool. But that whole experience was that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I'll have my RV there again this year. Now we're in between turns 1 and 2. It's called the 600 Terrace.
Okay.
You pull the nose of the RV right up to the
fence.
Yeah. And sit there.
That's how it was when I was.
Well, I was on the backstretch kind of in turn 2 one time.
Okay. No,
that's right. That's where you came.
Yeah.
Was in the 600
yeah,
chairs.
yeah, right there. Yeah, we were right between 1 and 2. It was perfect.
That's awesome.
That's the way to do it.
I love that spot.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of, I've seen that trending a little bit for other tracks too. They're making it to where you can do that.
Well, they tore down damn grandstands. They got to do something with it. Right?
But that's the best thing they could have ever done.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the way to watch it. We just went to Nashville. One of the guys that works for Mully, he's a young guy, super into racing. He actually came and took a class. He was there for 2 weeks, took back-to-back classes, done really well.
Yeah.
Mully hired him, and me and him just hit it off. He's just a young guy. He's super ambitious and just, way into racing, And they were up at Nashville, and I called him up. I'm like, hey, you ever been to a NASCAR race? He's like, no, heck no. I ain't never been. I was like, all right, come on, let's load up right over there. And we rode over there, and we went up around the backstretch. And as I was talking to him, I'm looking at all these
RVs parked up.
Man, and there were some sweet rigs out there. Yeah. You've seen, and we're walking out there, and I'm like, man, this is the way to do it.
It is. It's awesome.
There's nothing like it. So
I don't know if I ever sat in a grandstand again.
No, there's no point. No, especially with the whole RV setup. I mean, that's is the way to do it. So anyway, those were a couple things I wanted to hit on. I have gotten to the habit. We had a guy on. It never fails. As soon as we walk out the door,
you're like, shit.
It always happens, right? Yeah. So I've been trying to tell people, hey, if is there anything we didn't touch on that you wanted to touch on? While you think on it, I'll tell you this story about him. So as soon as we walked out the door, he was acting all funny, kind of had his head down. I was like, what's up? He was like, I forgot to shout out my wife. I said, we can go back in and fire it back up.
I think one thing would be cool is since this is about wrapping, be the first car we wrapped. That Dale Blaney, that Dave Blaney car. I mean, just, to talk about the film and,
Let's hear it. So which one?
It was 1990 or 91.
Yeah.
Nobody's wrapping cars, and Dave Blaney wrecked during. Oh, actually, I told Josh. I don't think you were in here.
Okay.
Dave Blaney wrecked during qualifying. It was an Amoco car. Amoco sponsored him, 93 car, and they did a special paint scheme. Which even back like 91, they hardly ever did special paint schemes unless it was the Winston, something like that. And they didn't paint it was painted. Amoco car was black and white, and the BP car was green and white and flip-flop. And he wrecked. Yes, so that was a car. Find the BP car.
Yep.
So that was black and white, and the BP car, I think, was green and white. And they didn't paint that car was painted just black and white, and the red and blue stripes and the numbers were decals.
Okay.
So all the black and white was painted. Type in Blaney BP 93 car.
Oh, that's still the black one for some reason.
Yeah.
Blaney.
So you guys, like if you were doing this car, there would be an Amoco decal for the hood.
Yeah.
And then the 90, you're saying that all those would just be, it'd just be a loose decal.
Loose decal, yeah. So you'd have a red stripe, a blue stripe, like they wouldn't even be together.
Ain't that wild? Like to think back, like those guys painting those cars, like
oh God,
the paint booth and everything, like
that's it right there. Yeah, that was it.
So this was a wrap.
No, we had to change the black to green, and we used matte. I think you walked in. It was matte tack.
MacTac. Yeah. I did hear you reference that.
And back in MacTac is better than it was, but back then it was. Oh God, it was horrible.
Rough.
No air release. Trying to stretch it over the fenders. It's changing color.
So you were changing. You were going from the BP car to the Amoco car. Is that what the goal was, or
just So he wrecked the BP car, and they pulled this black car out from the trailer, and we had to make it look like that. So he wrecked on Friday night, and they wanted this car to look like that before practice that afternoon for happy hour. So we're in there Saturday. Brought a roll of green vinyl down.
Really?
They had, for some reason, they had a set of backup decals, but like we didn't give them green.
Sure.
You know, I mean, we didn't wrap cars,
Sure.
right? I mean, that was the first car we wrapped. And
this was 2001?
Yep.
2001. And what track were you at?
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you at least were close
Exactly.
to get to it.
Yeah, and I didn't have installers. I farmed on. There was a guy, Walter Cook. I don't know if you have Walter and Lisa Cook.
Yeah, actually, Lisa Cook, for some reason. She's from up in...
well, she's up my way. She worked a lot with JKS.
Yeah, JKS, yeah.
They used to be my installers, and they started working with JKS.
And I want to say their daughter even installed. Maybe
their son.
Okay. And maybe his wife. Because I think there was a Tara that...
anyway. It could have been Kyle's wife. Yeah,
maybe. But anyway, I remember them being, they were the people forever.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were,
Yeah, I didn't have an installer, I think, till 2005.
So my first was...
But, I mean, we didn't install anything. All we did is haulers.
Sure.
You know, I mean, body guys painted decals. You ship the decals to them or delivered them.
And they just did them. And see, that's what I was saying earlier. Well, one, do you remember Fountain Graphics?
Yeah.
Roger and Chris. Yeah. So that was my first install job.
Okay.
I was still in high school.
Yeah.
And they paid me $150 a day and I busted rivets.
Is that right?
I did. Yep.
Over at Mickey Body?
Yep.
Yeah.
They'd stick the panels. I'd come in behind them and rub it, pop a little hole and rub them with a rivet brush, heat it with a torch. Yeah, but that's how I got introduced to motorsports.
When Roger, when Lisa and Walter were too busy, I'd call Roger. And Chris in.
Yeah. I can remember doing stuff for both, motorsports, TDS.
With them?
With them.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, it was huge. It was, like I said, it was a big deal. Like when my dad got me a 24-inch plotter for Christmas when I was 15.
Yeah.
And it changed my life. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew, there was no question.
Yeah.
I just didn't know where I wanted to do it.
Right.
And when I went to work for motorsports, I thought I was going to retire from there.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm good. We're doing Dale Earnhardt stuff. We're doing, Jeff Gordon stuff. Where else do I need to be?
Right.
This is everything. This is life. When they sold out, to Vamela, I was low man on totem pole, so I got fired. And I always tell a story about Kip Johnson. Kip Johnson fired me, and Kip, it was funny. He fired me in such a way that I didn't know that I was fired. Like the way, I felt like he made the right decision. Like when I walked out of the room, I was like, yeah, he needed to do that. Like he got me. Like, and it was so bad. The next day I had to call in. Wendy was the.
Oh yeah. I remember.
I had to call Wendy and say, hey, did I get fired yesterday? She said, unfortunately, we had to let you go. Yeah, we had to let you go. But
when I got fired, Bob Livengood and Kip was in the room with John. I guess as witnesses.
They probably didn't strangle him.
Look, my firing took 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I didn't obviously tape,
Yeah.
But I walked in and John says, it's like, what's going on, man? I walk in and they're sitting there. I'm like, what's going on? He says, here, you started your own company. What? I ain't started. That's not what I heard. I hear you talking to our employees. So I ain't talking to any. He said, that's not what. I said, oh, you must be talking about Rich. He said, yeah. He said, what customers you talk to? John, I ain't started a company. And I said, he said, well, I hear you that you're going to. I said, well, I've talked about it. I've been trying to get you to sign a buy-sell agreement because I've grew this freaking business. And that's when sports.
So you had thought about buying
him.
Yeah.
No, if he ever sold it, I said, I want the first rights to buy it. And he's like, how are you going to get the money? I said, I just like to have the option. I don't know, because Dale Earnhardt Sports Image was handled all his merchandise.
Yeah.
And then Action Performance bought them. And all that was about the same time companies were starting to buy other companies.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to walk in here one day and you say, hey, this is Hank Jones. He's the new president of,
Action Express came in and bought everything out. Yeah.
And he said, all right, I'll work on it. 2 years. I said, hey, you got anywhere on that buy sell? So that day I said, John, I own my own business before I came to work for you. I taught you, And he said, you're fired. He said, you got 90 seconds, 10 minutes, get off my property. I mean, it literally, it might not have even been a minute. There was like 2 or 3 questions and you're fired. I was like, I said, is anything else? And he said, nope. And I slid my chair out and walked out and started packing shit up. I went and got a box and put my kids' pictures and shit in my office in a box and walked out.
Off. You probably could thank him now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd probably been working there when you came to work
probably
there.
Would. Yeah. Which, I mean, it was an interesting time when I got there. You know what I mean? Like the sport was at its height. You know,
oh my God.
I felt like it was, you know, it was amazing. It was incredible. And like you said, all the processes and procedures were in place. And
dude, by 2005, 2006, we probably had 50 teams.
Yeah. It was incredible.
I mean, it really was.
All the haulers would line up out there next to the building. I mean, it was just something, you know.
Oh, it was crazy
for a young race enthusiast. You know, I wanted to be a race car driver when I was growing up. You know, I'd already made up my mind I was going to be in racing one way or another.
Right.
And so when I showed up there, I knew this was it. Yeah.
Going to Disney World.
Yeah. Well, and it's full circle. Kip ended up coming back. He ended up coming and taking a test at Mullet. He ended up coming and
did he really?
Yep. Yep. I was the instructor, so I got to grade him.
The fuck you failed it.
I didn't. He did great, man. And it's funny, man. Kip he's an interesting guy, man. He really is. I got a little opportunity to get to know him a little bit and talk to him.
Yeah, he's a butted heads because I kind of ran the company, and then John he worked for Wachovia, and John made me all those bushes beside the damn building. He had me and Kip plant them just so we could like do a little team building and work together.
That's funny.
So John was good. John was as far as like build. I mean, he had to have a vision, right? I mean, that place was just so big. It was so massive,
dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, I'm just saying it's a different time. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like there's a lot more, you know, HR, and you got to be careful. And, you know, especially you work with some of these big teams, man. It seemed it's a lot of corporate, you know. A lot of people like it, when we were at Hendrick, people would refer to it more like about the, it sounds dark, but like, you know, the plane crash happened.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and after that, it was like, corporate just kind of creeped in.
Yeah.
It wasn't the family organization anymore. Right. You could cut up and be a little inappropriate here and there and push them, you know, and you could start to kind of see it in the sport. You know, there's like the bean counters, and everybody's trying to keep track of like every little nickel and dime, and it's had an impact on the sport. I mean, I think a lot of this.
It was a lot funner before you even got in.
Imagine it was. I've heard some cool stories.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I think. And the racing was good.
I mean, it blows me away. Which we can have a beer and talk sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to leave soon.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I get it. But anyway, like I said, I try to wrap back around and make sure that we covered everything, just because, and like you said, we could sit here for
all night.
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's exciting for me because it's like when I think about where we're at as an industry, there's people that have spent the last few decades trying to get where TDS is, and just in like, you know, techniques and people, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but people like you and Anton and like the systems and procedures, and I mean, again, I just don't think people really know what it takes to be able to turn graphics around at the quality level and speed and stay competitive. I mean, because hell, there's sign shops opening up on every corner saying, we'll give you the wrap if you would just let us do it. We want to say that we're doing your wrap, so let us do it for free. You know, and to stay alive and sustainable. I don't know. I think
it's hard.
It is, and it's impressive.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, for some as a young entrepreneur, and I'm looking at it, and I'm trying. You know, I have to be somewhat logical too. You know,
sure.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, none of this makes sense. I'm looking around like this. I'm missing something.
Right.
These guys are fucking crazy. You know, this is tough. You know,
it's a hard business.
But I think that it's cool.
I've always operated as a poor man.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you know, my ex used to say, "Wow, you always act like you ain't got no damn money." It's like, well, I was so fucking poor, I couldn't buy a can of pork and beans when I was small, right? So, like, all my shit's paid for. I don't have any debt.
That's incredible.
And if I buy a printer, I pay cash. If I buy a car, I pay cash, or I don't buy it. You know, and just debt's not good. Pissing money away in interest is not good.
But people do it.
Yeah. I know.
They build businesses on it.
I know. My CPA is always like, you need to take this money out of the company if you ever get sued. And I'm like, I just leave it in the company because I'm going to spend it. in the company.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just keep reinvesting.
Well, and it's shown, right?
Yeah.
I think otherwise you wouldn't be where you're at.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're able to do the things that you do because you're doing it right. You know what I mean? You're holding on to that stuff. You're putting it back into the company. I mean, I've never had a sports car, never had a big boat. You know, I'm not that guy. Speaking of which, is that your truck out front?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a nice truck.
It's a 2020. It's got 130,000 miles on it.
It's a beautiful truck.
Oh, I love it.
I was surprised when I opened the door earlier. I stuck my head out to make sure the door was locked.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like people walking in while we're doing the episode. I thought, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
For some reason I imagined you in the, like one of the TDS cars.
I'd like to tell a Tony Johnson story.
Oh yeah, this would be good.
For the last, this will be nice. So I don't know if you remember, my wife and I, we were at Firestone Automotive there on University Drive.
Yeah.
And you came in and we were sitting there waiting. And somebody you had went up and asked how much it would be to get brakes and rotors on Kyler's car.
Yeah.
And you went up to the counter after you saw, we shook hands, said, you know, hi. And you went up to the counter.
Pleasantries, if you will.
Yep. And then you came back through and you were like, they were going to charge me, I think it's like $900 for brakes and rotors. I don't know what kind of jackass would pay that price, but it ain't me. And you walked out and I turned to my wife and I say, we're the jackasses. I had my car in there for brakes and rotors and I was paying $900.
That's funny.
We laughed about that. We still laugh about that.
I guess we're the jackasses.
But now, when I need to change my brakes and rotors, I do them myself.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, and I'm glad you told that story, Josh. That's fantastic. I just had a guy text me the other night, and I had some mentors growing up. They were hard-nosed guys. They were just tough as hell. Yeah. But a buddy of mine, I'd owned a little car wash for a little while, and I had a mentor that would come by and tell me everything I was doing wrong, and he'd give me a hard time all the time. Right. And there's one time in particular, I'd hired a couple guys, and I'm thinking I'm dialed this process in, right? Like this was after I got fired from motorsports. I'd started a car wash because I had a little sign company, and I don't know. I just thought that the two would work well together. And don't ask me why,
wet apply works good.
Oh no, I really thought that it was like I could wash them before I done them or something. I don't know what I was thinking, but this mentor, he come by and he pulled up. We're washing this car and we had it, like I said, this process dialed in, and he started cussing before he got out of the car. And he had seen us doing something wrong before he ever got to us. Yeah. You know, and he came down and he cussed when he come down the hill as he went around the car, told us all how damn stupid and sorry and no good, and we were stealing from people. And he, went back up the hill, got in the truck, rolled the windows down to cuss some more, and pulled off. and so a friend of mine, the guy that was there with me, he sent me a message on Facebook the other day, and now that my mentor, he's passed away now, and he sends me a message and he tells me that story, and I thought, man, those things made me who I am. Right. You know what I mean? Those are the things that make me as a person. Like that's how I tick, and that's how I think about the meticulous detail. Sure. And like I said earlier, like the world's changed. This whole HR PC stuff, like you can't do that stuff anymore. And it's kind of unfortunate because sometimes you need to know that you're a jackass. Right. You need to know it.
I knew that day.
Anyway, Tony, I appreciate the hell out of it, man. I really do. I appreciate you coming up. Sure. This has been fantastic. I think it's incredible what you've done.
Thank you.
I can't say it enough. I think it's awesome. Love your kids. Love the company. I'm excited to see where all it goes. Hopefully we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
100%.
Anyway, all right, Lambert, we good?
Yep.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's go.